And we're red. Red is on. 4:34.
Make a motion, we adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll open this meeting on Thursday, March 3rd. March already. Wow. Let the record show that John Selectman Scanlon is not present, but is on his way. All right. First on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the 18th and 25th. Unless this is John, and then we'll skip over and take you first. No. All right. Make a motion, we bring the minutes of the 18th and the 25th to the floor for discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I didn't see anything in the...
See?
I'm sure you saw some pretty bad road above my house, too.
That's real bad.
Make a
We
motion
missed you
to
this
accept
morning.
the minutes of February 18th as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Whoa.
She's sharing the blindness, apparently.
Much better.
I couldn't see.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of Thursday, February 25th as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I started a pile, Joe.
Oh, have you?
See ya. Okay, Chuck, you're up.
I'm up.
Up, Chuck, yeah.
No. What's up, Joe?
Look at that golf ball. What's up, Chuck?
You see that little kid doing the hole-in-one today
No.
on the news? I forget where, Florida. Some fundraiser that Tiger Woods was there.
I hope he won a lot of money.
Well, he was like, couldn't have been 8 or 10 years old. Boom. Hole-in-one.
Good.
Yeah. I have one quick question before we start.
Sure.
Now that we're on tape and being recorded, and I'm hoping the public are listening to this question, because I can't tell you how many phone calls I got on it today. In order to request a paper vote on a particular warrant article, what is the procedure?
It can be done by the signature, and I have that in the Moderator's rules. To be done with the signature, I believe it's 5 or more residents at the meeting.
At the meeting?
At
Okay.
the meeting. Also can be done at the discretion of the moderator.
Okay.
So if I think, in the past, when we've had sometimes raises for individuals put up, and so people don't have to stand there and show someone how they vote on raises, I've requested that be, I've said that'll be a ballot vote, so it'll be a separate ballot. And then those don't have to be open for now because they're not a bond issue.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
The piece of paper that I just passed out was, you can see there's a letter on one side. There's a gentleman of John O'Brien, who's a Vietnam veteran from Orford, and they now have this annual thing right now where they're honoring veterans.
We've done this, haven't we?
So this year's thing is going to be in Hanover. I believe last year was at Pease, the year before somewhere else. I can't recall all the different ones, but this is like the 4th one. And so at the beginning of the meeting, I will, without objection, go ahead and mention this briefly.
Absolutely.
I guess things are all, I'm
No
sorry.
objection, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I wonder what the last Vietnam welcome home ceremony.
Well, I think maybe they're all the last one. Maybe it's the most recent one. I guess everything's all set to be set up for the gym at 2:30. Joyce has cleared that with Robert Berry over there, the
Yep.
facilities manager. I had
2:30 on Monday?
2:30 on Monday, yep. And the town can move its stuff over into the hallway prior to that if they want. Under the floor plan, I have one here, and I don't know if you each had two. You will notice that really there's only one difference, and that is over on the right-hand side. One has just the table, the 2 tables with 4 seats for sit-down tabletop voting, and then I moved the other table that had been on the right near the peanut gallery in the middle where people can sit down if they want to read things. I thought that there was quite a bit of space in there between the peanut gallery and the voting booths, and that might be a better place for them to sit.
I think I like that one. The one where it's by the peanut gallery.
Number 2.
Yep.
Yeah, number 2.
We also turned the table for the supervisors registering votes.
Yeah, registering voters, that one kind of on number 1 stuck out a little far into the room. The other thing on that one is that considering we just registered a whole bunch of voters for the primary, and we probably had 4 times more voters at the primary than we're going to have at this one. So anyway, I put just 4 chairs there. I think that's more than plenty for the registration for voters. And everything else is pretty much the same. And for this particular one, we do not have to have the handicap voting booth set up with that special equipment, just a table and a lamp.
Why did it change?
Well, it was the other one had to do with, they had a tablet, and the tablet had all the election stuff on it, and it was all done internally, and so it would actually connect and would print out a ballot that could then be submitted, and they did not send that tablet back with the information for the town election.
Well, they will again for,
They will for the state
November.
primary, probably, and the, in September and November.
But are you going to be there at town on Tuesday?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Catherine, you're going to be there? And you'll be there in the afternoon when you get out of school?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any meetings at 2:30-ish, but I'll be there probably by 4, maybe earlier.
And I'll be there for the counting part of it. And if you need me in the afternoon, I will to give you guys a break, but,
Okay.
all right? So
I have a
Have another
suggestion.
Good.
Can we put some signs on the other exterior doors directing the voters to the correct ones? How many people got buzzed in through the SAU, wandering through the high school? Some came in through the front door, same thing, and if we just made signs, voting entrance, you know,
I'm
by
sure we
Jim
can do
Pat.
that, although I'm guessing that most people are clued in where we are now.
Hopefully, but
Well, a lot
But I
of,
think
still
the
a lot
sign
of
is a good
people
idea.
went to the middle school, too.
Yes.
That was one of the things that we had requests from a number of people that had gone to the other school, that a sign be put out by the entrance to the driveway going into the middle school, telling people that the voting is at the high school gym.
We still have that sign, I believe. Do you want it put out?
We should have
I
that
would,
put
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Joyce, can you put a note so that that gets done?
This is the one on Winter Street to the
Yep.
middle school.
Yeah.
Put it there saying voting at the high
Well,
school.
they made an additional one to put at the middle school, when you approach the middle school. As you approach into the driveway of the middle school, they put one there.
And we also need to have a sign, some kind of a sign put on the outside of the middle school too, directing people that the voting
That
is
it's at the high school. So that day, we called up and almost immediately they went over and made signs up for us for that day. Those signs need to be put back in those places, probably just this time, and then they'll kind of get,
A couple times, and eventually they'll get it.
Dreamweaver, no, by the time they get it, we're gonna move to a new location.
They'll probably get it by November.
Not in my lifetime, I
You
hope.
wanna
Yeah.
bet?
No,
all right, so we're good with that, okay?
not after my week.
What else?
Those were mainly those at the doors, and we'll put the signs. And the other question we had was, we had people who were staff members at the high school that just felt that they could walk right through from the hallway there and came through on the back side. So I'll put a little sign out there too, asking them to please come around to the other door.
Can they exit the polling that way? Because what happens is the cafeteria doors are usually locked to enter.
And then they're
I
gonna
don't
walk
mind-
around the
I
whole
wouldn't mi-
building.
I wouldn't mind them if they walk around the outside
Okay.
to
They
exit
just
that
can't
way.
walk through the polling place. They can just walk around.
Yeah, they walk around,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
I've got two ballot clerks. Again, Linda Burns, who's been helping me for years, and Jackie Rushlow again. I'm going to end up with two assistant moderators for the day because Senator Sanders has decided he's going to head back up to Maine on Sunday. And Paul Rushlow, who has helped me in the past, is willing to help me. However, he's got a dental appointment in Henniker at 2:30, so he's going to be there from 8 to 1. And then Scott Davis has agreed to help me from 1 o'clock on.
Nice.
Catherine has agreed to once again help with taking of pictures. And we'll make sure that equipment is there. Joe, if you're going to be there, depending upon what the final result is of any discussion that we have on the passing out of materials on those 6 amendments that are on the ballot, being a greeter and handing out materials to them would be great.
Whatever you need from me, I'll be there.
Fire district, if you looked at that floor plan that I had, I don't know if the fire district is going to put out anything for reports, but I know we always give out school district reports,
Their report isn't always,
okay? So then the town
There
report,
will be a fire station committee handout, but it's like one sheet of paper that says, what
Is that
we've done.
to be
It didn't get in it didn't get in with the fire report.
is that going,
is that going to be given out at, do you want that given out at the town, at the voting, or to be handed out?
I don't know what they've decided. I really don't. That was something that they didn't even know if they were going to have it ready. It's going to be at the fire district meeting for sure.
Well, we certainly can pass out copies of that and put them on a table
If
at
it
the
shows
town
up.
meeting. I would
Yeah.
prefer it at the town meeting
Yeah.
versus
Yeah, that
elections.
would be better.
Perfect. Will do.
Now, my plan on the map that I had shown you was to put the table on the exiting after they put their ballots, to put the town reports and the school district people to pick up on the way out. If that works.
And there is no change back from one Republican to independent or no?
No, not at this election.
All right.
No. Maybe, some of you folks may have realized that our ballot counting machine at the presidential primary, gave us all kinds of hard times. People would put a ballot in and it would kick out. It would do this sometimes 3, 4, or 5 times. Cindy finally got the folks up here today, the guy from the ballot machine, and they found out that he couldn't even get it to work correctly, so he replaced the mechanism on the inside.
Good.
That reads the ballots. It's a little bit noisier, but it works. And so that one at least has been fixed, so we shouldn't have that problem. The town meeting, I'm going to still have Linda Burns assisting with counting any standing votes, and Scott Davis has agreed to also help me as counting if we need him as a ballot clerk, and the assistant moderator for the day is going to be Helen Hanks. I've already shown you the material about the veterans. Has anyone got anything special that they have for announcements that they want at the beginning of the meeting other than this announcement about the veterans?
Well, we kind of thought that maybe like a 2-sentence blurb at the beginning so that we're not getting a lot of questions about Califf Hill Road, where we're at with Califf Hill Road. I don't have anything written. That was just something this morning that we thought that, and we could just give an update as to where we're, where we're at in the process and where we're going. Joyce could put together 2 or 3 sentences for us and just read it, and that I should take care of any questions thereon.
Do you want to read it? Do you want me to read
Yeah.
it?
Either one, doesn't matter. I'm okay with either.
Perhaps as the moderator reads it, they won't be tempted to direct questions to the selectmen. And it will just be an FYI.
Sure. Why don't you just have Joyce, whatever she's going to have, give it to me, and I'll read it at the beginning, the same as making the announcement.
Yep.
And then we'll be doing the salute to the flag and that kind of stuff.
I don't think that we have anything else that's really coming up.
I can't think of anything.
All right. That's it.
The next thing I had on my list here, but you've already kind of approached it, do you know which item is, you would expect might request want a secret ballot?
The housing standard, judging from the amount of phone calls that I've received personally, and I was asked that specific question. So...
Well, I could wait for a petition. I could handle that in any number of ways. If that is one you think will be, which is going to be Article number 4, the second one, I can go ahead and just plain announce at the beginning of the meeting that we will have a secret ballot, if you want. If you don't, if you want to wait and see if there's going to be a request for one, that's fine.
I'm fine, I'm fine with it, going with the written ballot. I mean, I think you're going to get that request. If that's what people want, you're going to get it anyway. So, what does the board want to do? You want to just go ahead and have a written ballot for that?
No, let them request.
Let it request it?
If they want to request it, because I don't care one
Okay.
way or the other.
Doesn't matter.
there have to be a certain number of people?
5.
I believe it's only 5.
Chuck said 5, yeah.
I have it in the moderator's rules, which will be adopted at the beginning of the meeting, and but I believe that's what it is.
Okay. 5 people, 5, to request a paper ballot.
I'll double check it when I get home.
Okay.
I just wanted to get out quickly over each of the articles to see who here was planning on moving the various articles, and if you have someone who wants to be a second on them, and I'll write them in now, and
Well, Jerry Davis.
Second, Jerry.
Oh. Article number 3,
I think you have,
no adjustment.
Yep.
yep. Do you have it all? Right there.
And then Catherine for number 4.
And then Catherine.
And then Pat on number 6.
Who?
You.
Oh, yeah.
And number 7, John Scanlon.
John, yep. And 8 is a word change.
8. Be Peter. I see it says name change only.
Yes. And then 9 is the action on the 8, where we're putting monies into it. Who's number 9?
Yep, and number 10 is going to be Pat.
So, Mr. Mitchell, Article number 3 is a petitioned warrant article.
I have had a discussion with Mr. Davis.
So I should just move it to the floor and we just defer to,
You could ask
A petitioner.
that Scott, right, speak to
well, I
him.
am a petitioner, but I would point out Scott Davis, he'll have all the information.
Who do you have doing number 9?
I put Peter down for both 8 and 9. And I have, on number 10, I have you, and number 11, we have Chair of the Budget Committee.
Yep,
Who is?
Wayne Barr.
Wayne. And number 12, we'll call Jerry.
Yes.
Nothing special planned for the end of the day. Could be a short meeting.
I'm hopeful.
No, there's nothing, anything, I suspect the 2 biggest items that will be spoken about would be the housing standard and the Trinity Church. I'm sorry, and the recycling. So those 3 items are,
Should generate some discussion, but I don't think it'll be
it's a big...
contentious.
I don't think it would be really contentious either.
Well, I think on the,
Housing, maybe.
from what I had heard from Scott, that the selectmen basically supported number 3. Is that correct? Article
what?
We
3.
have not taken any vote to that
General
effect.
support for Article 3.
We did not, no, we didn't vote for Article 3 at all.
I don't think he said you took a formal position.
No, we did not.
In my discussion with him, I had, I think when most people would be glad to do away with the bags, I just worry that more people are gonna start throwing more and more trash. And I had suggested to him that I thought that somewhere in there, an amendment to maybe have some standard by which if the recycling falls off by more than a certain percentage, then you would go back to bags. But
That's a potential horror show, too. It's gonna cost us money to discontinue them. Just like it cost us money to institute this thing. So we discontinue it, we fall below in 3 months, and all of a sudden it kicks in, we have to spend money to start it up again.
No, I wouldn't. When my discussion with him was after a year of this major falling off.
Well,
But-
it's a petition, and they can amend it any way they want, and then we'll see how it plays out.
I can't remember, since I've been a selectman, that we have taken a formal position on any petition warrant article.
Not in my time, anyway.
I have.
The official
time.
position as a Board of Selectmen?
As a human being.
Oh, no, well, I have too. Quite frankly, I support
asking as a
number
board.
3.
Oh, as a board?
As a
Yeah,
board.
Yeah, you have that option. You can support it or not as a board.
I don't think we've ever done that
No.
as a board,
In my tenure as selectman, they have before.
but not since we've been, Joe and
No,
I.
I think this was back in
Yeah.
'04.
Okay.
Really remember what it was.
The document that was put together, I guess, by Dari.
Yeah. All right,
On voting day, I
yeah.
have two questions. The first is on voting day, do you want to have those on the table for people to read? Question number one, and then you want Dari to be available to explain if anybody should have questions. I'm more than happy to do it.
You know, I have two thoughts about that. One is that as a voter, I'm going to go in and I only have a certain amount of time. Sometimes I'll be on a lunch or whatever. I'm not going to read through 13 pages of what this is all about. I would rather ask somebody a very specific question if there's somebody there available, whether it be a selectman or Dari. I think Dari would be the best bet, but to ask a question, the specific question could be answered without having to go through all of this, and it would be simple. I could get my answer, and then I could go vote. Some of it's self-explanatory, but there are some here that lead, to some questions. I mean, I have some questions on them. So, what are the board
I
thinking?
think that's a great idea.
You have Dari there?
Yeah, then if people have specific questions, they don't have to read through the whole thing.
Do we also want to have these available?
Yes.
Both.
Are you going to have Dari over there all day? Because that means the land use office will be closed.
I personally think having this would be helpful. The other thing is that I don't know that everyone is necessarily going to have a question on every single one of the amendments. Where it's been written in here, why the change, at least there's an explanation, even if it is from a staff member who may very well be biased about the changes. And I'm just saying, I think that if somebody, I have my concern originally was that even having these available, if someone, because then if they are not going to know all of the questions or all the warrant articles or those 6 items, they may not know, and they may not have questions until they pick up their ballot and start reading it. They're not going to want to go out and find Ari after they've already received their ballot and have him then explain, like, I have a question about number 3 or number 4. So I don't know specifically, but I do think that having these available will be helpful. But what I still fear could happen is someone's going to take one of these sheets, go into the voting booth, and they could be in their voting booth for 15 minutes. And that could be a problem.
Do we want to have Dari there at specific times, the heaviest,
I don't think it's necessary to
Supper
have
time?
Dari there. In all these years, we've never done that. I mean, we've never done this. So I think this is going to be sufficient. I mean, all you have to do is look in the box. You don't have to read the whole document. You just go to the, he did a great job with it. If you've read, I've read it through. So if you go to the warrant article, you have a question, and you go to the box, it tells you why. Most of it is just to conform with state law that's been changed.
I think having sufficient numbers of these available
I think so.
is, I think, you have to have at least have it available. I know that people aren't going to read all the material.
No, it should be on the website, too.
It is. What wasn't put on the website, though, was that Dari made reference right on the,
So if you have, look at draft amendment number 6, are you in favor of adoption amendment 6? See attached. So when I go over here, I see wetlands. Wetlands.
Keep going.
But as a voter, I've turned over 4 pages now,
Well,
and now I see signage. But which one am I?
this is different. Where's the one I had, Joe, can I see the one I handed you? Why is
This is the one you just handed me.
You didn't hand me any.
That's the one you just
This is
handed.
the one I handed you? This was on the table. Maybe this is a new draft.
Do we have another draft?
I don't have any.
Well, here's one you gave me earlier today.
Does anyone print it out, please?
Oh, this is-
Can I have it?
Yeah, look at
Did
this one.
anyone think of copies for us?
Why the change?
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
I don't know, if this was on the table, I thought everyone had them.
Gail, did we put these in their,
that the one that
in their
was emailed?
packets?
I don't know. I'm really glad.
Complete text of proposed zoning amendments?
It says narrative explanations provided by the Land Use Department appear in boxes. That's the one.
I don't see it. All right.
So this is the same as I think Dari had emailed us recently?
So
The one he mailed you today.
Just did
Yeah.
that today. I finished it today.
Okay.
amendment number 6. I want to go to amendment number 6.
You know what,
Well, do you want him to put them right after the
Okay, all right.
question?
No, I'm very comfortable with this.
Yeah, I handed her one that was sitting on the table.
The one I had, I flipped through 6 pages and I didn't come to signage. There was no explanation, it just says see attached. This is much more, okay. Can we all of us get copies of this?
Of what? This?
No, this.
I have,
Let me go
I'm all
back to
set.
page 1 then.
Yeah, go look at page 1 and see if it says
Look at the-
boxes. You're all set, that's it.
You don't have that paper.
Well, because I printed the email off at school. Notice I'm using my recycled paper. I make sure I use both sides before I recycle.
Good.
Okay,
Then fax it to the recycling center?
There you go. Now, then I can hand it off to
All right,
Catherine
that's
because she
good.
prefers
So-
to touch.
yeah, now what I'd like to have you do, though, is
I
have,
like that.
if you check the website and said, at my suggestion earlier in the week, said to people, if you have a question about the text, I mean, in the context of some of the, of those 6 amendments, to look at pages, I think he put down 17 to 24 in the town report, and he made reference to that, but what would be good now would be to take that document right here that you just looked at and have Tim scan that, PDF it, and then just put that document up with those pages,
right in with the,
not even referencing the town report at all, just said, if you have
Right.
questions on the amendments, click here.
yeah,
And
right.
that would give them access to that.
Joyce, do you see what Chuck is saying? Right in that paragraph where it says attached, please find the town warrant, the town budget, and proposed housing authority for town meeting. We can also add in questions and explanations on zoning, planning and zoning amendments.
It would be helpful for people to read the explanation, if they can, online before going and picking up a copy, because that's the only place it's available now.
I agree. I agree. All right, what is the decision on having Dari there?
Yes.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, John,
During the busy times, I think.
okay,
Good, but-
Peter,
Busy times, if at all.
okay. So, the majority say during the busy times, to have them there? Can we arrange that?
Busy times, the office, his office hours, well, he's there all day, but now it's in the morning. So have them there in the morning and then go back to the office and then come back at, say, 5 to 7?
Just leave it at 10.
Yep. I would say that,
Al's there in the morning in the land use office.
right.
But Al doesn't handle land use that Dari does.
Oh, but he can, a lot of the things that come in are... So what
I disagree.
Well, if he took the day off, we would have to deal with it as well. Now he's going to be at the town meeting helping us out. If there was an emergency situation where somebody really needed him, someone here would call down there anyway. we could do that. Gail could get in touch with them.
He's happy to do whatever you want.
During the busy times was the board's decision.
So when you say busy times, that'd be
The
7 to 8 in the morning, lunchtime, and from 5 to 7.
Sounds good to me? Yep.
No. Let the record show, please.
It's a consensus.
Yep.
I still want the record to show that I disagree.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you want to change the link on the website?
Instead of referencing...
Add the amendment, that papers that you just gave to us.
Explanation.
Scan Dari's little bullet brochure kind of thing on there, so that people can just click on it and get their questions and answers right there. Okay?
The other question I had at town meeting on warrant article number 9, I didn't hear if you had mentioned to Chuck that there would be an amendment if it passed.
No, we didn't. On Article 9, it says to appropriate the sum of $101,000 to be added to the town roads, bridges, and sidewalks. So in Article 8, we added sidewalks to the name of the Capital Reserve Fund, and we usually put in $65,000 for roads, bridges, but we're adding $36,000 for sidewalks, and we have estimates for work to be done in 2016, sidewalks for $36,000. If this passes, we will then amend the budget line item to take out $36,000 on the line item that says sidewalks under highway.
You can explain that when,
Okay.
Peter can, when 9 is brought to the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
You want me to go ahead and give you that language in writing at the start of the meeting?
Are you we're gonna actually amend this, if
No.
this passes? No.
No, we're not amending that.
He
We're
likes to
amending the
No.
put the
budget.
amendments up on the screen.
But we're not gonna amend the article,
No, I understand after, when you go to make the amendment.
budget,
you want
okay.
it in writing
Got it.
So you can put it on the screen.
Yep.
Just have it ready for us, so when it comes time, we can hand it to the moderator.
That's what I'm asking, okay. I'll try to.
Please.
And if you've,
Thank you.
and if you've got wording, just send me a copy, because Kathy will be able to have it all ready to put up on the screen.
Sounds good.
Somebody called me and asked if, on Article 4, if they had to be a registered voter to talk at the town meeting on it. So there'll probably be some people asking about that.
Residents of Tilton can speak, and others can ask to speak if they get permission from the moderator, and if there's no objection from anyone present.
I think there's like property owners
Yeah.
that live out of town, so they're not a resident, they're not a voter.
Right.
But they do have a tax payer.
In the past, the legislative body has allowed them to speak.
Sometimes. There's one we didn't.
I would have a tendency to say without objection, I would allow them to speak.
Yeah, that's, I had
The
said
property
that.
owners.
And if you know who it is, have them speak to me, or write something down and hand it to me before the meeting, so I can...
I've gotten the same requests.
It would be nice to let taxpayers have a say.
Yeah. Okay, Doak, we all set?
Any other questions for Chuck?
No, good.
All right.
See you Monday, if not before. And good luck with your surgery.
Thank you. You'll
Did
see
we
me
get a,
Tuesday, hopefully.
Consensus to approve checks, page number 2,
Yes.
so we can get it to the
Everybody okay with?
Public Works Director, and that way it won't be altered or changed by anyone?
Yeah.
And Joyce, you're gonna update Johnny on the signs? Okay.
It was number 2, right?
Yeah, and...
Everybody okay with number 2?
Yeah.
John?
Number 2 was
This one.
I'll give this to,
Sure, set up.
I'll give this,
You guys look.
You can take mine.
I actually blew this one up
okay.
slightly bigger.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'll give this to Joyce.
This is shortened up, it's less tables.
Yeah, we should also make it really clear when we close the voting, that it is officially closed and not,
We need to let our police know that it's closed, it's closed, they can't.
yeah, we need to reemphasize that to the.
But you
police
also need to
department.
look around to see who was already in, because there was one of each happen. One snuck in just 15 seconds late, but there was some registering that had been
Yeah.
there prior to.
What we had said is close the doors and don't let anybody else in.
Yep.
And sometimes,
No, that'll work.
so,
Police did.
they're not done yet, but doors closed, shuts off.
Chuck, we still have a question, too.
Yes.
Can we make sure that when the voting is closed, that we communicate it very clearly to the police department so that we don't have the situation as we did last time where they were still allowing people to come in? And we had already motioned and seconded and voted that
Polls will be closed.
polls were closed,
I don't know any reason why not.
and we can kind of shut the doors.
We can.
Okay. Done. Okay. All right, let's move on. Maybe move on. I lost my agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
I didn't hear anything, but you guys want me up here?
No, it says town moderator next. Johnny.
Town moderator next?
What are you talking about? He just got up and left the table.
Messing with me.
5:15, he's exactly on time.
Okay. Thanks, Chuck. Bye, Kathy.
Good night.
See you later. Yeah, are we talking about Caleb Hill Road first?
Caleb for March.
March Road, too.
March Road, sorry.
March Road. You want to hear this?
I'll sit down for a few more minutes.
All right. Oh, that's where it went. Now, if you look on the front page here, this is the big quote that I sent you guys on from Pike. Samberton, we didn't finalize in Samberton the contract with Pike, but they are the lowest bidder. We can't finalize until after town meeting because the funds won't be appropriated until, because we're in Samberton, their fiscal year instead of calendar year. So they are the lowest bidder. And we have a good rapport with Pike. They've done work for us for a lot of years, with the exception of last year. They happen to be not the lowest bidder, so I don't see any reason why they will not be awarded the contract. But I've been in contact with Pike, and their salesman representing Pike is Jody Pelletier. And he's extended the prices given to Samberton to Tilton for the Tilton portion of March Road, which ends up being about 1,000 feet. So this is just a breakdown of what those units are. And on the second page is, if you look on the first page, you see the numbers before the descriptions. The second page is basically, it's Samberton's, where he broke it down for their description. It's just a little bit more detail of what those descriptions are. Like if you look at the MOB, which would be 692, if you go on the second page, it says 692. The MOB is mobilization.
Which end of March Road is this, towards School Street?
Ours is on, more on School Street, is our end.
And right in front
Street.
of,
This is ours,
The
this
farm.
is the boundary.
In front of the farm.
And then in 1827, they did this so that this would be in Tilton.
So that little piece is in Tilton too?
That's about 182
it
feet.
surrounds the house.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the
yeah, the homestead is there.
homestead. Okay.
This is the biggest piece. Have you seen these? So this is School Street. That's the Sam.
So-
And this is March Road.
This is our price. If we agreed to doing the rest of the March Road, which I think it makes sense for us to do,
The barn's over here.
or is this contingent upon you folks pass? Our accepting of it, is that our accepting contingent on whether you think it's going to pass at your town meeting?
That doesn't affect us.
It's, the town meeting traditionally has always given the highway department in Sanborn for, I can't give you the exact number of years, but 10-plus years of $500,000 a year to do the road work, road reconstruction, rehabilitation, and this year they get $130,000 in the, yeah, I'm having a senior moment.
Roads and
Capital
bridges.
Reserve Fund.
In capital, no, not capital reserve fund, but the money you get from the state.
Oh, the gas tax thing.
The,
Yeah,
Abatement.
and that goes directly to the highway department for it too. So it ends up being $630,000 for road improvements and
Okay.
reconstruction. And so they will get it. It's just that we can't officially award a bid until we've officially got the vote for the budget and everything passed. So,
Hamilton raises 500,000 every year?
well, you have to because there's 100 miles of road to work on. So,
And what, 45 miles are dirt?
40 miles is, it
40
breaks
miles?
down to roughly 40 miles of dirt, 60 miles of asphalt. So,
So do we have enough in our budget going with what we plan to do?
once town meeting is over here, with the 65 that we asked for, if you looked at the
The plan?
spreadsheet that I gave, we should be up almost to $300,000.
But what will this put off?
I had planned on the 10-year plan to March Road to be 56,000, almost, well, 55,000, almost 56,000. This is actually coming in at just almost 6,000 less than what I had planned,
When did you plan to do March Road?
which I had planned on doing March Road this year.
This year?
Oh, this year?
So it was good. It's
Oh, so
washed.
we're good.
Yeah, we're actually coming in less. And as I go over, I will be there to watch Tilton's interest. And I believe Brian's planning on raising the road higher than I think it needs to be. Tilton's end is actually better than the Sanborn end. I don't think it needs to be raised as high as Brian is planning on the Sanborn side. I may be able to cut down on some of the materials used and save us some money there too. But this is probably worst-case scenario.
Is this contingent upon it being done simultaneously with?
Will be, because that's one of the reasons I also want to be there
I know.
too, to say, right, here's where you stop Sanborn's and start ours, so that
Right.
we don't get confused.
Which is, yeah, you
Because
just
it's two
separate,
small
you separate
places.
slips, that's easy enough.
So,
Yeah.
because I want to be there to make sure in the building. Coach Sanborn's planning on, they did it last year, they did Caleb Hill up to, Burley Hill up to Caleb March intersection, Caleb March and Burley, that's all one intersection where Caleb crosses over. They're going to start at that intersection. The plan is to go all the way around to School Street. So that whole section will be done. And when we do finish our Caleb Hill, it will tie it all in quite nicely.
So your Caleb Hill is not at the end of Arcaliff.
Arcaliff Hill is very confusing. Actually goes to Franklin, and the other side
Well,
goes
that's
to...
ours too, isn't that the 4,000,
Well, there's-
numbers?
I think there's, I don't know
There's
if any
several-
part
there's-
of the road comes in.
The road doesn't touch Tilton, it goes into
Okay,
Franklin,
but
but
the-
Tilton touches
has-
Franklin
The
right there.
driveways of
The
the
driveways are accessing it.
Yes.
Do you,
We put traffic on it.
if it does not pass at town meeting in Zamberton, you don't plan to do your portion of March Road, correct?
Well, why not put it in the bid with the other and just see where it is? You can always throw it in as an alternate.
Well, you're not going
Well-
to do the
Well, if
road.
it
If they
doesn't-
don't do their road this year, we shouldn't do our road,
If it doesn't pass,
March Road.
If we don't do this with Samberton,
then we won't do it.
it's
don't get this
already
price.
in our, we don't get this price, but it's already in our plan. You're not, you're gonna do more roads than just this.
yeah.
So what Peter is saying, you bid out all our roads and see how it flushes out. You've already got 56,000 figured for March Road this year.
But why would you do a section of March Road and then it's not done, and then another section of March Road? I
Yeah.
don't understand that
That other,
theory.
well, that other section of March Road isn't ours. I have no control over it.
No, if
What if
We
Samberton?
won't get this price from
if
Pike.
Samberton were,
Well, it
You'll be riding
depends.
March Road like this.
yeah, if Samberton were to back out for any reason,
Doesn't make sense.
It's
Well, it
the,
depends on why
it's the way
Samberton
the
would back
paving
out.
goes.
if Samberton were to back out
It's
for,
not a just end and finish. There's a section in the middle of March Road.
It's not
that-
bad, though.
That's 100 and some odd,
182 feet.
182 feet, that's Tilton. So you're going to be doing March Road, 182 feet.
Who says,
There's
well,
Tilton.
if the 182 feet isn't in need of it, you just leave it.
Isn't that bad?
Yeah, if
A 1,000
Samberton were to pull out, I don't see no reason why we would go, because like I said, ours is, it needs work, but it's not super bad. I have other roads that are worse shape than that. It's not super bad. I would just pull out and put it off till Samberton was able to do it. I wouldn't recommend that we do it, but if Samberton's gonna do the rest of their road, now's the opportunity to do it, because we're actually getting great prices. For the asphalt, it's $68 a ton, which is a very good price.
6?
68, 66, something like that?
66.
66, yeah.
Yeah. So it's $66 a ton. That's pretty cheap.
Well, except for one thing.
What's that?
What's gas prices done in the last year?
This has gone down.
Well, I would have thought, we were paying, what, $70 last year? With the amount the fuel's gone down, the asphalt's your biggest chunk in a ton of mix. But still on,
So I say go for it.
So, but yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what DOT's getting for prices per ton if it's on some of
can-
their projects.
I can check into that, but,
It's no better.
Huh?
I don't think it's any better.
Well, they have the, they get covered because they have the escalation clause based on fuel prices that can either go up or down.
All I know is I saw all the bids from Samberton, and this bid was totally the lowest one by far, by tens of thousands of dollars.
want the job.
their highest bid was up over 600,000.
Considerably more than that.
600 compared to what was the low?
This was the low as 529 total.
529 to 6, it's, and who was over 600,000?
Most of them.
Yeah, they were,
Edmonds was under 6, and I
Okay.
think everybody else was over
Well-
6.
Because part of it is Edmonds is coming out of Franklin, they should have been closer to Pike. Pike's Northfield, Continental's out of Concord.
Yeah, they were
If
over
Brock's
6.
is in it, he's out of Hooksett.
It
anyone
wasn't
else-
just the mobilization people. I mean, a lot of their other stuff were, Pike owns a gravel pit, so their gravel was significantly lower.
Oh, no, well, you see, you don't, see, back in the Milo days, it was different. Milo would get your price and work backwards, and then he would cut all sorts of stuff so he could put the money in the mix.
Well, back in the days of keeping up with the agenda,
Yep.
You got the hammer.
let's keep moving on the street. We're all set with that. Well, what else you got going?
all right, I guess what I brought back to you after working a lot and thinking a lot on, we talked last week about, before I move on, we talked about a letter. Brian was worried about, because we do have town meeting this week on Wednesday, the selectmen, if the selectmen were willing to go along, so that in case anybody asked him about Tilton paying for their portion of it. I mean, and I think we talked to Joyce about maybe,
Joyce, were you able to smash out a letter for the selectmen to sign showing support of the project on March Road, that we were behind it?
No, but I can do that
So-
later tonight, you can sign it.
Okay.
She'll have it before the end of the meeting, we'll sign it.
okay,
Well,
and
what
just,
does everybody think about signing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, just so, he was just worried in case anybody jumped up, because it's, even when I worked there, it was a contingent, oh, you're working on Tilton, and, but,
Tilton's roads, why are we paving Tilton's road?
it gets confusing over there. So now we can move on. Last week, we were talking about the mechanic's position and finding out what we can do with,
Yeah, where is he?
I didn't think we needed him tonight. We talked about it, and what I came up with, and I looked at different checklists and so on and so forth.
Wait, back up.
Well,
We asked you to have the mechanic here,
you also
and you're saying to us now that you,
I made a command decision on the fact that you also asked me to do this as a department head. And I felt as a department head, I can do this, and I can do this with Arthur on my own, and I also brought the police department into it, Nate Morrison. I don't want to muddy the waters and get things too complicated, so actually what you have for a system would work well with a few adjustments, and we're in the process of changing it. So I brought you examples of what we're doing to go along with the weekly worksheets that I send out. Arthur will be included in
the weekly worksheet.
the weekly worksheets as he works with the crew. When he works on a car, it doesn't have to be a police car. It will be the highway department vehicles. It will be the small engines. It will be anything he's working on. Currently, he started the project of getting the chipper up and running. What I did was I started him breaking down the hours so that when he's doing the oil change for the lube oil and filter, so he broke it down into the .4 system, so that's 20 minutes. So every point is 5 minutes. And I'm working with Nate to refine this, get it a little bit better, and Arthur. So we break that down so that you see exactly what he's doing and how long it's taking him, which I think is part of what you wanted. And also, the question came up, what do we know about the history? So for history, I brought you a few examples of what they have been doing. So the history is there. It was just hard for me to get it to you. These are examples of all the files that you're holding in your hand goes into a file, have been going into a file all along. And on the front of that folder for the file, this is transposed onto the file. So they're able to write down what was done. Obviously, you have the labor hours, the prices of the part, and also is there a warranty that came along with that part. So that, like, let's say the police cruiser, for example, they did something to do with, let me look at it, air conditioning. And if there was a warranty that came along with the part they bought for the air conditioning, it would be written on here. And if they brought it back in 6 months and the air conditioning is not working and it happened to be that very same part, it's written on here, and they can replace that part if it's covered under the warranty free of charge because it was warranted. So there are history, and what happens to this when this sheet is filled up, and every year they take this along with the sheets that we now have already currently in place, and every year they're placed into another folder so that we always have the history of each and every vehicle. placed yearly until the vehicle was no longer in service. If you look at I think this is the first one is 6A, which I believe the town car,
Which one?
the front sheet. Is 6A the town car?
So the
No.
town car and the one underneath it.
Yeah, the second page.
Looks like it became the town car sometime in
Yeah, so,
13.
so for the town car, we have all the files for the town car of everything that was done ever been done on the town car. So we have all the history of everything done on the town car. So from here on out, we'll just simply take your original sheet, and I'll turn them into you once a week of everything that has been done by the mechanic with a better breakdown of everything that was done weekly. So I don't think you need it, or you might want it, a breakdown with the history, but that might be a little bit too much information for you. But I really didn't think you needed Arthur here for that. I just figured this is about as good a breakdown as I can come up with. I thought about checklists, but a checklist is not going to tell you how long he spends on a car. It might tell you what he's doing.
This still does not give us what he does in a day.
Well,
It
it gives you,
will.
we got this, and then you've got a good chunk of the day, we have no clue.
Well-
Over 3/4 of the day.
So,
What this will give you the full day, because, let's say he came in on Tuesday, and you had 2 cruisers that were there for an oil change. All right,
I'm just-
I'm just saying, I'm not saying you got the whole week here on this, but let's say once we get this system down pat, he's got 2 oil changes due on the cruisers. All right, he does the 2 cruisers, and it takes him, this was an oil change here. He put the .4, which is 20 minutes down.
Well, no, because at the bottom I see 1.1 hours.
Right,
That's
right,
total.
right. That's total,
Well,
right.
4 plus 3 plus 4 is 1.1.
All right, so,
So .3 hours is just shy of 20 minutes.
so let's say,
Almost 20 minutes to check 4 tires for air pressure.
right,
listen, here's my thought. I'm looking at a piece of paper here that says, let's take 3-3. On 3-3, 0.3 hours to check air pressure. 0.5 hours to found a screw in the right tire, removed the tire, pulled out the screw, and so 0.8 hours as a mechanic. So that's 40 minutes, you're telling me, because it's 5 minutes for each point, right?
Well, except,
So that's 40
well, no,
minutes,
because
right?
if I
assume-
go to the front page, I get 1.1.
I'm just working on this page, Peter. This
Okay,
is,
you know,
follow my thought here.
well,
look,
let me,
No, no,
No.
I want to follow my thought
wait a
here.
minute, wait a minute. You guys, we have one part of what we asked for, okay?
We have one, that's
Let's
my
not go-
point.
Let's not go backwards. Okay, they're keeping great records of what's been going on. So what we need to know to answer a question is, the mechanic, whoever's doing the mechanic work, whether it's Arthur or whoever. Bob. We need to know how much time in a day they're spending doing this and other things. So going forward from now.
We asked for that last week.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, you're getting that.
No, where are we getting it?
going forward from now, somebody needs to track that. So
That's what I'm-
tomorrow, if a car comes in to be repaired,
Mm-hmm.
we need to know how many hours were spent on the car. I don't think we need to know, well, maybe you do
Can
want
I
to know the
just, say
breakdown.
something?
And then let's know,
After me, John, I've
if he
been
only
trying.
spent 2 hours working on the car, what did he do the other 6 hours?
Okay, and then I'll...
John,
You
go
do
ahead.
this and I'll finish.
Okay. For years, on everybody here's computer is a copy, and they've supplied them, of all of the repair logs right here for everybody to look at. All these are computerized. I don't know why we're going backwards and creating new forms, new logs, new systems.
They're not new systems, they're old systems.
Why are we doing all this written stuff and then have somebody else type it into the computer?
This is the old
This is
system.
crazy.
They've been doing from day one.
This is day one,
Then
John.
why are we asking for it again when we have it?
No, what we're
You tell me
asking
we gotta
for,
do it. I
John,
don't get
is
this.
All we're asking for is a complete
on 3.3, 8/10.8.
We've got
on
40
concur,
minutes.
What happened to the other 7 hours of the day that Arthur was being paid?
Right.
That's what we're trying to find out.
I
Was he
don't-
just sitting around sweeping the shop all day? Was he out working with one of the crews? What's going on? That's all.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what he was going to get into.
You will be getting that because Arthur is not, I give you the weekly worksheets on what the crew does.
You give us a general picture of what you've done in a week.
All right, well, then the second thing I can do is I can buy books for all the guys. There's actually 2 things I can do. I can buy books for all the guys, and they can put in everything they do, and I'll transpose it onto a computer, or I have to sign everything codes, and I will code everything, sit behind the computer even longer,
We're
code it
looking
all.
at the mechanic position.
Well, then, here's my proposal, if you guys let me finish. I can put down what I've been trying to say all along. Arthur will do these when he's working in the shop. And when I have him on the road working with the crew, I will put him in the weekly worksheet. When I go out, I do give you a general, because when we're out plowing, he's out plowing. When we're out treating, he's out treating. That's a general. The whole crew is out treating. When I say we're in the shop, do you want me to say, oh, Fred's sweeping the floor, Arthur's cleaning the bathroom, or Larry's straightening up the bench? Or, that's what I'm saying, the shop covers everything in the shop. We're all doing this.
How many man-hours a week do we work?
We are
in the
in our
shop?
slow time right now of the year. We can't start projects. We can't open up the ground, put it back together, and hope that nobody falls in when mud season happens. This is our slow time of the year. Once the ground thaws out and it hardens back up, we can dig dirt, put it back in, compact it, and let people drive on it.
So we can't do any brush clearing.
Right.
We have started working on the chipper. Once we get that going, we can do some brush clearing. I don't like to do-
In the worst case, in the interim, I suppose we could do it, haul the brush back and chip it at highway if we're waiting on that, but if we got...
Typically, we can do brush clearing this time, right now. Most time in the winter time, I don't like to do brush cutting this time of the year because there are snowbanks. This year, we don't have any, obviously. But the reason I don't like to do brush cutting this time of year is because there's snowbanks. One, you're climbing up and over them. 2, when the snow melts away, you're gonna be cutting them down again because they're yay high, and people get hurt on those. RSA says you cut them as low as you can with the contour of the land, so that people don't step on them and put them through their boots or fall on them and get them like a punji stick. I do keep people busy, but this time of year is a lot of busy work, and we've had a lot of busy work. We can't start a lot of projects. That's why I came to you and said, oh, I'm buying stuff to paint the shop. Dennis had those guys pulling the metal railings that you hang the ceiling tiles on and wiping them down in the winter. They used to do that every winter. They used to take the books off the shelves and...
I think this is all the more reason why we shouldn't be jumping on this and trying to figure out, what is it that we do in a days. We've been on this now for, a month and a half now, and we've been dancing around this and not, you can throw this at us all you want, and these documents, we've seen these documents now for about 8 years.
And I'm telling you, it's a good system.
This goes back when Al Liberty was working there.
Yeah, and it's a good system.
I'm not saying it's not a good system. This has nothing to do with mechanic. What I want to know is what the mechanic is, what the mechanic is doing.
I don't understand. I think, this is crazy. We've got every minute of every job, what he's doing, and everything, single thing on these reports dating back 8 years. The rest of the time, he's on the log with the crew.
No, not necessarily.
Or in the shop.
Not necessarily.
But you gotta look.
I hope that we're going to have every single employee get a little logbook and write down every time they do anything then. Because that's what we got to do then. Because we have every employee that we could sit there and do this to. I think this is a witch hunt.
I think, no, the problem is, for years, we've had Arthur as a mechanic, you never see him out with the crew at all, so that's telling us must be 8 hours a day of mechanic work.
I see him out with the crew often.
I've seen them out.
Well, I don't know what happened in the past.
do.
Listen, folks, I can't do anything about the past.
No, I know.
I don't want to do anything about the past. I don't care what was done in the past. I can only do about what goes on from here forward.
I'm just looking to see, do we justify a mechanic?
Yes, the mechanic is justified, and I will take you and show you why. I can take you to several shops that don't have mechanics or have not had one in years and show you why you need a mechanic. I can take you to other shops and show you their budget for sending all their crap out to be worked on and show you why you need a mechanic. There's a lot of reasons I can show you why you need a mechanic.
This is Peter's question. This has been Peter's question for quite some time now. We need to have this answered and satisfied. Let's just get it satisfied. You said you can say, is a mechanic justified in the town of Tilton's garage? So show us on paper how it's justified. If you can do that, sit down here and tell us, then we'll just sit here and go on with the business.
I'll find something else to...
How's that?
I'm trying to show you.
If we
Nah, not with this, you know.
If we look on the computer, it tells you what that job would have cost on all the
Right.
spreadsheets that Tim has done. And if you look at the price on all those sheets, you can see how much that would have cost for every single job. How many hours, and you times the mechanic. The information is there. I don't know why we're trying to go and have him do new logs and this type of log and this type of information. Look at the information we got. We've had it for 8 years, 10
My
years.
sense of what is
I've been doing it in
happening...
the Budget Committee, I've been looking at this stuff for years on this.
My sense of what is happening, which is very important to know, is that when he does work on something, when you actually take an account of what you're trying to do, it's much more than we realize he has to do to get the job done. That's my take on it, John. That's why I think once you know that this is what's happening, that he's doing himself an injustice for putting down a .3 when it really should be something greater than that. Now, there's much more involved in shop time to a mechanic than there is a laborer coming in, washing a vehicle or making, their safety checks and things like that. He's the one that's going to fix things. If something goes wrong and he fixes something, and he sees something else in that, he fixes that. If he sees something else, he fixes that. But he puts down on paper, well, okay, I just fixed this, but he didn't tell us the whole story about it. There's a lot more involved in
All the
Arthur's
things-
day than we know about.
There are other things, but all the repairs that he has done over the years, or anybody else has done on the cars, is computerized. It's
Well,
on the program,
I
it's on
understand
the
that,
software.
John, but if I look at that, then there's holes of many hours of days, weeks, months, years that I don't know what he's doing.
But we don't know what anybody down there is doing, except for the work is getting done, and the director is supervising them and assigning them jobs. I don't think we should be going and watching all the employees every single minute of every day, or any individuals. And
I'm not, I'm just trying to see, do we justify
If you take the number of hours that the mechanic spends, and then calculate what it would have cost if you sent it out, or let's say you had the front-end loader needed a bearing put in it, where would you take that?
Probably the Caterpillar.
And how far
They
away
would
is
have to
that?
come here, and they don't even come here without a $300 charge. It'll be $175, I believe, an hour after that.
Yeah, but
And how
that should be warranty.
often does Caterpillar have to come here to work on a
You
loader?
have to have your oil changed, which is 200 hours, 250 hours. That same charge to come here, and I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200.
But if I'm talking that charge once a quarter or so, and we're spending
But if you were to get rid of the mechanic's position, because I do have plans this summer, a lot of them, you still need a position to take the place of that position on the road.
Correct.
So you will be saving yourself approximately, and I don't know about benefits, $6 an hour.
That would be down the road.
That would be down the road, but that's what you will be saving yourself in labor.
Well, all I wanted to do is to confirm that the oil changes we're doing is costing the town less than going to AutoServe, Valvoline, or one of those.
And there lies another problem too, because oil changes with your own mechanic, and this is my expectation of a mechanic in our shop, and I would not accept anything less. Yes, do the oil, the lube, oil, and filter. If you go to Valvoline, they're only going to check the stuff that they sell. If I have our mechanic, I want him to check all the stuff while he's under there, the tie rod ends, the exhaust, all the fluids, transmission.
Did you talk to Tim Sattler at all to see the sheet that Banks prints out when you go for service?
I haven't been down to Banks, no. I should go talk to him, I do know him. But I want my mechanic checking everything, especially on cruisers, police cruisers, that could be going 80, 100, down Route 3 for whatever reason, and have to stop on a dime if somebody pulls out in front of them, and it does happen. But my mechanic is expected to check everything, not just what we sell, because we don't sell anything. I want my mechanic, and I want my mechanic knowing the history of these vehicles, not just whatever mechanic happens to be around. And also, we got to think it too, Valvoline is hiring the lowest paid people they can possibly get that are capable of doing the smallest part of that work that they can use.
Okay, what about AutoServe?
AutoServe is going to charge you a premium price, and if there's something that even shows it's wet, that doesn't need to be changed, which is a common problem, they're going to tell you it needs to be changed.
Well, they're going to say you need this fixed, doesn't mean you have to say, yes, go ahead.
Well, somebody's got to fix it. You don't have a mechanic.
Well, when you go...
No.
Who makes that choice?
They'll put in stuff that
Who makes that choice?
has issues that you don't have to change. They're not a safety issue, but I went into AutoServe, had a dent in my muffler. They wanted to change it for like $1,300. There was nothing wrong with it other than the dent. There was no
If you
leak.
don't have a mechanic, who do you have that's technically qualified to make that decision? I mean, I've worked in plenty of shops where we're guys. I'm not a mechanic myself. I mean, I can fix things, take it off, put it back on. I'm not inadequate for a lot of things just when it comes to twisting a wrench. But I would never call myself a mechanic. But now I'm going to go up to a piece of equipment that a mechanic says needs to be changed. Am I qualified to say, yeah, that don't need to be changed? Now, let's say I say that, and whatever vehicle it is slams into something because of that part that I said didn't need to be changed. Now, if it can't be traced back to me, I'm still going to feel like a jerk, because I said it didn't need to be fixed. You got all these things to weigh out. And I've worked in a lot of shops that didn't have mechanics, and we've tried to fix things. And trust me, when you got wires that have butt connectors, 20 butt connectors from one end of the truck to the other, that's not something that was done by a mechanic. And I've come across that. Not my work, but somebody else's that I had to fix. Those are the kind of things you're going to run into. You are definitely worthwhile to have a mechanic. And yes, it's true, the person in the mechanic's position will make or break the job. But I think if you were to get rid of the mechanic position and nobody was totally responsible for it, you would save yourself approximately $6 an hour, because roughly all the guys down there is about $20 an hour. You might be less for a little while, but they're going to eventually end up back there. You save yourself $6 an hour, and now nobody's totally responsible. I have to beef up my mine, and the police department has to beef up their maintenance lines to cover going to everybody else. And who knows what kind of a job they got, because there's several different technicians in any shop you go to. They don't have the history unless it's just written on a computer somewhere. That's the way it is. Because when Arthur gets ready to retire, he says he's got like 4 more years, he's gonna retire. I expect in the last year, I'm gonna start looking for a mechanic. I'm not gonna wait till he gives his notice to start looking for a mechanic. I'm gonna do my investigation. That's how important I feel a mechanic is to the town of Tilton.
Could we get a slightly more detailed look at what he does the rest of the day?
Well, yeah,
I saw your worksheet, okay? I sent the crew out, blah, blah, blah.
I can
Stick Arthur's name in there.
I can stick Arthur's name in there a little bit more, because I was planning on working more into the worksheet. It's hard for me with Arthur because he is more in between. It's almost like 2 different departments.
Good.
But I'm working on it. The worksheets will get more detailed as we go into the summer months, because we will have more projects that will be going on. Right now,
I understand.
we're in the slow season, so we're trying to,
Yeah, thanks for the 28 pages of SDSs.
oh yeah, well, and we're not even done. I know. We're not even done.
Somebody was working on that the other day when I was there.
Yeah, Fred was a
Working
volunteer fireman.
SDS.
And I figured he'd be the best one to do that.
Seems good.
He's like, I haven't ridden this much since high school. And you're welcome.
Yeah, I asked for it, now I got it.
Once we get done, I'll be picking your brain a lot on how to set up those stations and manage them to,
Yeah, we'll get them. We'll be looking real good.
so hopefully, but this is still a work in progress, guys. It's not a final project. I just wanted to let you guys know where I'm headed with it, to try to bring more of the information that you want. So don't take me, if I'm getting a little hot, I
I'm sold,
apologize.
quite frankly, me personally, I'm sold on a mechanic. I've looked at other town garages and seen what their equipment looks like, seen what their shop looks like, and I see what our shop looks like, and I see what our equipment looks like. And we've had vehicles for decades, literally, some of those big trucks, and they're in as good a shape as they could be.
Just once.
I mean, you got a 1990 dump truck in there that it goes out every storm, doesn't break down on the side of the road, doesn't cost us an arm and a leg.
How old's the R-Series engine with Franklin's Fire Department? Early 80s?
I don't know what that necessarily has to do with our dump truck.
It's another diesel truck. Diesels can go almost forever. You can go 500,000 miles.
The fire truck's not out there plowing snow on Caleb Hill Road.
Just to
I'm
get,
just saying.
Let's talk to Earl Layton.
Earl maintains his stuff, buddy.
Well, if he does and they last, then
Hey,
if
Doug.
we've got a mechanic, ours should last as long as his.
On these sheets, what happens now is the mechanic or whoever works on it writes in this information here. They get stored away. Periodically, Tim will take these and type them into the software that looks like this. Why can't the person who's filling this out just type it into the computer so it's a one-step thing, and we eliminate hours of work?
Duplication,
And
yeah.
it's live and doing that. And, because whenever we create forms, because we've been talking for, last year, big objective was to digitize everything.
I can work with Arthur on that.
If you work with Tim,
And Tim,
and whenever we create a form, talk to Tim and see if we can incorporate this, because we have, like, paper forms for repairs on the police department, but we also have mileage sheets that are typed in, and everything could be on the exact same page, and a vehicle history that could be pulled out. And so it'd be nice to coordinate it with Tim and see if, it might be, some of the guys might want to take a little computer data entry class, or Tim can
would you
teach it.
guys want them to? I can do that.
I think that they should get some, some of the, or even if Tim does that thing on data entry and spreadsheets a little bit.
Yeah.
Because data is great if it's in a form that it's easily accessible. And then you won't be getting grilled.
No,
And anybody can click on here and say, hey, what's this? What's that about? And boom, send you an email and do it. And I just think it would be a lot easier to coordinate. Tim
Yeah.
would be more than willing to help out.
I'll get together with Tim and work on something and try to keep it a little simple.
The other thing is ask Arthur, if this was to be revised, how would he revise it? Because it's
Yeah.
looking like lube oil, filter, trim, blah, blah, all that goes, and then just detail. And-
Yeah, I can, well, like I said, I've been working, like, this is just in a week.
Sure.
Like I told you guys when I got hired, I can do stuff on the computer, but I'm not a computer jockey. I'm a self-taught and
Sure.
very slow, but, so it's a process for me.
Yep.
And this is a work in progress, just like I said last week. And I want to get you guys the information that you want, but I want to do it thoroughly and make it so that once you get done to the other end of this, because boards change every time there's an election, if somebody decides not to run, or,
Well, not every time there's an election.
no, every time I said if somebody decides not to run, if everybody got beat.
Or if
I don't
they're
think it's gonna
opposed,
change
if they're
this time.
unopposed, it's a little tougher.
But I want to get to a point where,
Ignoring us.
like
Yeah, I
in
know.
10 years or so, I'm not having to go through this again.
There's no guarantee of that. Don't
No.
even put that into your thinking. Don't even think about that, Johnny. Just as you
But I can
go with the
always
flow,
dream.
buddy. Yeah, you can.
Open it and slam the front door.
I know I have to train every board that I get.
Yeah, okay.
I'll try it for those of you who want.
And you're right. And there's a learning curve on every new person.
So, but no, as far as, but we'll work on it, and I'll keep getting you guys what you want. Be patient. Which, that's not over here right now. But be patient, and we'll get there.
Okay? I'm good with that.
I'm happy.
What's going on? Exciting. Just waiting for spring. All the load limit signs are out.
Yeah, they're out.
They took at least one load out Monday.
Of what?
I've been giving them permission.
Oh, okay, as long as...
Cold. Next week might, I've been telling people as they call, next week might be a
Oh,
different
yeah.
story.
It's gonna be cold through the weekend, so.
Must be, 70 next week or something?
You may want to check one of the maples. You've got a nice pine widowmaker still up in it from when they went through. They
Yeah, I
cut
saw
it from the trunk and didn't pull it down.
Yeah, I know. I'm not
So-
super impressed.
Well, I'd tell them if they want their full payment when they submit it, they may want to make sure that one's missing because one of the selectmen drives by it daily.
I've told him that several times.
Oh, okay.
That a selectman drives by here.
I've been going down that road
I've
every
seen Joe
day.
come out of it.
I go down that road almost every day to check on
Probably
the
rigged the
progress.
branch and they asked what
I'll
big car
bet
you
you I
got.
go down there minimum of once a month just to see if Fog Pond is
There is
in place.
a small pond, but it may be from the stump grinding.
Well, I didn't go today.
Where?
On the edge of the road,
It's all-
On the drain side of the road?
on the Manville side, probably in the area near where Dennis was proposing probably the third
Oh, you
catch
mean up
basin.
from it,
Yeah. And I just figured once spring comes, you can get in there and sort of do some grading.
Do a
work,
little
yeah.
ditching
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
and-
because I'm not sure also, they've got a majority of the stumps, I don't know if they've got them all yet.
I don't think you've got them all yet. I have to go down and, before they're even done.
And there's
Yeah.
one right in the middle that they didn't take.
One of them, what they were doing early on, they were working around tree piles, and as the piles went, they'd go back.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll go
Okay.
back. He's
Yeah.
all the way down at the end, and there's only 7, 8, 10 logs left to, like one load to pull out as of yesterday.
Yeah, no, I think it's
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna
load,
go
so.
down sometime this summer, and as long as you guys are okay with it, I'll pull the rest of those little hardwood trees out of there.
I don't know why he didn't take them down.
It wasn't part of the contract. I asked him.
It was just the pines, right?
Yeah. So,
I would've thought he'd take him just to sell for the firewood or something, but,
they're not,
the time to take him down.
I'll take them down and cut them into 4-foot lengths, leave them there for a couple of days. If anybody wants them, they can have them. If they
You
I'll
don't
take
say
them
that
away.
too loudly. I'll be right behind you when you
Yeah, I was
cut.
gonna say, knowing when it's gonna happen will be key here, Peter.
But I usually like to do that when we do our lambing.
Yeah.
If there's anything burnable,
Oh, yeah.
I cut it to a length and just leave it there and go back and check later. If it's
Sure.
still there, we'll take it away. If not,
Right.
great.
You got the alarm all under control?
No, it's still going, he can't shut it off.
Oh, it's just the greens?
Yeah. Pat Clark, can't do it.
Squirrels.
No, Pat Clark.
Well, I'll go over after we leave here and, if it's still
I
going.
wanted to take a sledgehammer to it.
Okay, good.
Is it a phone?
It was before the senior center was in there. The fire alarm down there, the alarm
yeah.
system. Wouldn't shut off, the company wouldn't come and shut it off. Summer fair was going on.
I know when I was in Northfield, I haven't had it happen here, but Northfield, the alarms used to go off all the time. They call me.
Yep, just lock.
I'm like, yeah, the police will go in there and shut it off. The wind would set them off.
Is there anything else that, what's happening, what is your next project? Besides the sign that's gonna go up in Riverfront Park?
That's gonna go up sometime soon. I can maybe even get that done tomorrow. I have started, like, last week after I talked to you guys, we went and cleaned up around the town hall here.
Looks nice.
I'm gonna go ahead and start maybe making that a part of our Friday cleanup stuff. So,
Nice.
so we can just do that once a week, if the weather's nice, you know.
When do the benches and trash cans generally go back out? I know we're
I haven't
early.
talked to the guys about that yet.
It's early for them
Yeah.
yet, because
But
the
we could
strange
still-
winter we've had.
But we could still get a big snow. I had the guys go clean up some of the sidewalk going down Main Street. They went further than I expected them to. I just wanted to clean up some of obviously the
It
sidewalks.
looks nice what they did, looks very
They
nice.
went way beyond it. I said, and in the gutter system, I said, and there was I noticed a bunch of cigarette butts and stuff like that. Cleaned some of that up, well, they went and cleaned everything up.
Yay?
I had a
Did
question.
a nice job, looks much better.
In the parking lot between Gales and the Tilton House, is that our parking lot?
Part of it.
Part of it.
How about those hedges that are just turned into
Oh, you're talking about like
trees?
Tilton House Pizza?
Yeah.
I plan
Who's
on
responsible for
trimming-
those?
I think
Yeah,
we
or
do.
even just like cut them.
Where are
Flush.
they down there?
Okay, you do the U? In the middle of the U, they've
In
grown
the
in.
middle of the Tilton House Pizza parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, those are ours.
yes.
I plan on trimming those right down low so you can see through.
yeah, because it makes
If
it
we
so
can.
dark in
What
there.
are
and
they?
Their use.
Yoo-hoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're like
They-
hedges.
You know how they start out nice
We
and
cut
cute?
them down we cut them way down, right to the, remember?
Yeah, it looks
With the
horrible.
Main Street program?
it looked awful.
But then they all overgrown again.
Nobody maintained them. I mean, there's a certain height that they should be kept
I
at,
think it
Yeah.
was just
but
cut
these
'em.
got butchered.
We might need to cut them back flush again and then let them grow in and train them right.
You'll have to look in there and see what's,
Because
how
once you,
thick the,
I have one other question. Are we washing the vehicles after storms every time? We are, okay.
It's kind of hard to tell with the patrol truck a lot of times because I'm right back out checking and it's getting salt on it all the time. But
Okay.
after all the storms, they've been really good about going back up and cleaning their spreaders, everything.
Okay. Any more questions for Johnny?
Is he putting the signs up outside the middle school on voting for
They're
the,
already up.
for the voting? No, to direct them back to the high school?
Joyce was going to update him on that.
Okay.
We talked about it before you
Yeah, they gave
came
me
in.
Okay.
the map for it.
Okay.
I'm talking outside,
Oh,
like your 4x4 type sign.
You put up signs during the last voting, voting at the high school, voting at the gymnasium at the high school.
yeah.
Those signs need to go back over near the middle school because people are used to voting there and,
Yeah, we went last time and.
yeah, those signs need to go back, that's all.
With the
Okay.
voting, there was one question. I had come down to vote right when the school was getting out and the buses had lined up, and I couldn't exit the parking lot without going out.
You gotta get out
Way.
Deer Street.
You couldn't get out that way. They had that blocked off from, I was in the parking lot,
Yeah, you'd have to go back out the way you came in at
the
that
front,
point.
to the front of the building.
You have to come out by, go in and out by Route 3.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
then you
but they
just
had
have,
that-
you have to wait about 5 minutes for the buses then.
It
The
doesn't
buses
take-
are only there,
It was pretty, well, they line up early.
It takes about,
I don't know how
yeah, it takes about
Well,
15
they're
Maybe
minutes.
10
before
minutes.
school
Time
gets
they
out,
line
they're
up.
all there
The
10
time
minutes
they get
early.
loaded.
no, they're at the middle school.
Oh, I don't know about them.
No, they go to the middle school, they pick them up 5 minutes ahead of us, like 225.
Yeah,
Then they
well,
line
I
up
just did
by
that
the
anyway.
gym.
Yeah,
And by 2:40, they're heading
Third
out.
wheel, follow me.
don't have a choice.
Yeah, curious about that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's only from like
Okay. We're good?
2:20-ish in front of the middle school. They come over to the high school right about 2:30.
Oh, okay.
Not
They're
during
gone by,
elections.
and they're gone by 2:40.
They don't come out, when we're having the election there, they continue down towards,
Oh, they went out the,
yeah.
Yeah, they had the whole
come
line
out
there.
they, so the student parking?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. So they don't come down through.
Okay, they don't do the
front.
normal route, okay.
Only during the, when we're there for elections.
Speaking of signs, did you notice the sign was going off in Manville, the big white sign?
About the tree cutting? Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't take that.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Oh, okay, I thought you guys did.
no, somebody out there.
Okay, so I can keep an eye out. I think the bear's out of hibernation. Recycling morning, I noticed my recycled container, the flap was open, the neighbor's was, there's stuff on the road. There was 2 or 3 out on Laconia Road by Clough and them. All the covers just flipped.
Doing the rounds.
He's looking for munchies.
Better not come to my house. All right,
All
we
right,
good?
I'm good.
You know what you gotta do? Everybody good?
I'm good.
Fearless leader, who's next? Chief. Public input. Hello, public.
Goodbye, public.
Thanks, boss. Okay, we just went past chief and public input.
And we're back on time.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Poor Pat's having such a tough time. All right, just a couple of quick things. The incident with, not the officer and the video, do you remember that? Does anybody else want to see that before I hand it back
What is it?
What,
No,
with the,
over in the parking ride?
yeah,
yes.
No,
Officer, no parking lot.
I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
Lighting street.
with the selectmen, remember?
Oh,
That's a body
Yeah,
camera image,
um,
John, if you want to look at
yeah.
it, buddy.
was it on a disc?
So you're not, yeah,
I'd have to, I
you're
don't
not
have
going to
a...
get in there. You have to take it home and do it.
You can't shove it in there, Joe.
There
So
isn't
when
any
you're
place to
finished with
shove
it, give it to Gail. No, it's not.
There's no
Okay.
place to shove it.
We'll discuss it.
Right. When you're finished with it, you give it back to Gail. So, did everyone get an email from the town clerk tax collector on
This poster?
this poster that was
Yep.
given to her for...
Is there a reason why we weren't in it? We have an old ballot box,
They don't
right?
know where it
We
is.
don't know where it is.
The one that, in
The
the back
old-
where we put the paper in?
That's not the old one, though.
Oh,
That's not the real old one. This is the
There's a
100-year
wooden
one.
one somewhere.
So,
I made it.
she wants to get it framed. She received the price of $75 for the framing, $25 if he has to mail it back up to us. So, what do you folks want to do? That's a great...
Where is it proposed to be hung?
It's a paper poster.
Yeah, I understand.
We're gonna spend
But it'll be
$100
in a frame.
We're gonna spend $100 to frame.
Not yet, no. I'm still asking where they propose to hang it up.
yeah.
Somewhere down in her office.
I mean, if it's nicely mounted and framed and put in stuff with
You won't
boundary,
know that it's
they do
paper.
look nice, but like you said, where are we gonna put it? We can...
Somewhere down in her office or the hallway.
The meeting room in the back?
Over there with Franklin D.
Yeah.
We're not in it?
No, we're
No.
not in it. Ours is lost.
We're talking about the poster, dollar ballot boxes.
And I found out about our ballot box.
Yeah.
What
What
did
is
you
it?
find out?
I don't think it's the old one, but there is a wooden ballot box at the highway garage. Because I remember one year, we were at the school district meeting, and we didn't have a ballot box. We had to call Dennis and say, Dennis, bring the ballot box, the wooden one.
But that's not the real old one, though.
I don't believe so.
No, I know it's not, because he took the one that he went from the highway department and got a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
wasn't the really old, it's old, but
Yeah.
it's not, wasn't the original ballot box.
Okay, so it isn't the original. And I also called the school, because Gail Twombly said the same things that we did. Did you look on the stage? Did you look in the basement? And she said, well, what about the school? What does the school use? And I went, oh, yeah. So I emailed Adele, and she said they have one, but it's just a wooden one, it's not the old one.
We
And then
can-
you're telling me now that we have,
We can look at the highway and see which one it is.
Yeah, I asked the guys, I didn't get a chance to physically look at it, but we do have a ballot box.
Yeah.
Is it a big, tall one?
But you don't know how old it
I'm not sure, I
is.
haven't went up there, but I'll go up tomorrow and check. But they asked me, we have a wooden ballot box.
that's the one that we use at
In any
the town
event,
meeting.
in any event, that old ballot box is not going to be repictured on that poster that we're talking about right now.
So let's go to the
Sorry,
post.
Mr. Dawson had asked.
Well, I was just curious, there is another
I
piece
made
of town
inquiries.
property that disappeared. At least we
Okay,
have our Boston.
we're talking about the poster. Do we want to frame the poster, or do we not?
I'm
Let's-
sure
please.
$100 is an amazing deal, and I vote no.
Did you just vote no?
I did just vote no.
Hey,
I'm not spending $100 to put somebody else's ballot boxes up on the wall.
yeah, I don't see that has anything to do with our town.
I
Save the poster and
It's about voting, and it's about
decide some other time.
the history of the
Can we just
state.
go to Walmart?
Yep, we could.
A poster frame for $20? I don't
Or
know.
couldn't we
What's the
take a picture
dimensions
of
it? Have it,
our
like,
town
just
voting?
laminate it and
I don't know, I just,
for $10.
You could bring it to the
$100
frame shop and do it for less
for
than
a
that.
paper poster, I think that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So consensus is, John,
No.
Catherine,
I gotta say no.
Peter,
No.
We already went through
got
this.
it? Okay,
Save
so
the
the
poster.
answer is no. I'll,
Oh, I could have gone yes just to be the...
You could have been that guy.
so, you want to reply to that? Or do you want me to?
You're the chairman. Hey, I'll reply if you want. Thank you very much for your kind offers, but
This
no!
is-
All right,
This portion is what you're saying, okay. But I couldn't get the letter to print. So I'll have to see if it...
We still have the poster.
Well,
could
they're-
put it up.
So they can sign it. Hopefully it printed down in my office.
I don't need it until
Get some thumbtacks.
$100. I mean, it's $100
Taking
of
that
taxpayer
long?
money.
To think its way through there? Well, thanks. What is that?
You know, I can't buy to the best of his or her ability, because this is something that's been saying, we're going to take care of it for, I can tell you, 6, 7 years, we've been having the same thing. Every once in a while, somebody stops doing it completely. I can't see to the best of their ability.
No. Well, no. If you keep that, then you say, in the event it's not taken, a note will be left for the next supervisor to obtain said results.
My understanding is that, I'm not sure how it goes, that in Belmont, the officers give their mileage to county dispatch. It's the last I suppose the officer that comes off at night, and the mileage is, and they log it. Then they're.
That would be for your frontline ones. That's only, what, a quarter of the fleet?
You know, it doesn't have to be exactly every Sunday evening, but at least once a week.
Right.
You know, on a Saturday, Friday, Saturday, or
Then you're
Sunday,
gonna
put
get
down
different,
A little bit. But,
Well,
you know,
it's like you
monthly,
do.
it's gonna
not if
average
it's a
over the-
frontline car, it's not gonna be a little
I think
bit.
we're
Well,
progressing.
with the exception of those, they ought to just call into dispatch. But the non-frontline ones, if they do it on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's, as long as it's close to weekly.
I just can't see the
Most of
best
them
of
go
verbally.
into dispatch anyway. Most other police departments, dispatch takes care of those kinds of things.
Luke, for, I think about a year and a half or so, Luke did it every Sunday except for when he was out on vacation.
Is anyone cold?
Huh?
I'm freezing.
And
Well,
this,
it's getting chilly.
I'm,
Well, let me turn
Oh,
up
the
the
heat's
heat.
probably down. I
See-
think we turned it down yesterday.
this is, it's like we're started some new thing. This has been going on since I've been on the Budget Committee. Actually, Scott, when he was on the Budget Committee, we started doing this mileage thing. So why is it every 6 months when they aren't doing it, it comes up to the same thing? Oh, yeah, we're going to start doing that.
I think it's,
It must be done, it's not...
now
to
it's
the
a
best-
directive.
But it says that they will to the best of his or her ability. No, that's part of your job. Got to do it. Well, and then we get the same thing we've been hearing on and off. Well, they were busy, they couldn't do it, the form didn't work. So, I don't buy
Well, this is
it.
the first time we've done it as a directive.
But
I-
as John says, there's not as much meat to it as it could have been.
If you took out to their best of their ability, it would be perfect.
Yep.
Is this a done deal, or is it,
This is what...
This is his response.
Response, yeah.
so can we
So
respond
did he
back to him?
send this out?
Sure.
Can we ask him to take out to the best of his or her ability?
Second sentence at the end, or second line at the end.
Now it's a directive.
And if the car is at the town garage or out of service, so noted.
I can tell you,
Right,
Okay.
second line.
Second line, the second, I'm reading at the bottom.
we
Period.
had the same thing. We had, I believe it was last year, and we asked again, he came up with the form, and the guys were supposed to do a checklist and say if there's any problems with the car every time they do it. That never happened.
Or I've never seen one.
You remember?
Maybe
when-
it did,
do you remember?
maybe it happened, oh, yeah.
This
maybe
is
it
how we're
happened,
going to do
but I
it. From
never
here on
saw it.
out, we're going to give the mileage, and we're going to inspect the cars so we know what needs to be repaired.
What about any reported maintenance issues shall be? or
Yeah,
must
shall be.
Shall be added to the maintenance.
Well, they have,
That's-
he has the form he
That
gave
is
out to
in
the
their,
guys.
that's also in their standard operating, that they have to do a safety check, and it must be reported and
Yeah.
that's part of their,
And they're supposed to turn it in to the captain, he's supposed to check them.
We just haven't seen it.
I'd like to see if there's more than 10. I'll give you
Captain
$1
has
for everyone over 10 that they
Yeah, you-
never
you
did.
should have
The
it.
whole year.
now, then an email documenting the issue shall be sent to the chief, captain, staff sergeant, and to the IT manager.
I think that's if it's not accessible or not functioning properly.
Okay. Move on.
All right, so send this back to the chief and with these two changes?
Yep.
Come, the chief isn't here tonight.
Isn't it at the funeral for the state trooper? And then tomorrow is the officer that was killed in Virginia lives in Merrimack, New Hampshire. He'll be there.
Okay, just to follow up on the town meeting thing, so I sent the revision to Tim and copied Dari to put it on the website. I sent an email to Dari, I'll talk with him tomorrow about hours to be at voting.
Yep.
I sent an email to Johnny about the signs. And also, can you remember, what does the sign say that you put at the entrance to the school on Main Street? Is it voting in an arrow?
It was the same sign that we had out on the road,
Okay,
because what we did was, when Pat called about, when they were having,
yeah,
we just took the one that was down here by MB Tractor, yeah, the
Tractor Supply, okay.
and brought it up and put it in the parking lot. So we put one there already, so the people were seeing it,
Okay,
to say that it's the high school gym.
okay,
So it's already there, because we figured, might as well get it out there now. So
Okay.
that's there,
it's there now.
Mhm.
Okay, and it says voting high school gym.
high school gym.
Okay, all right. As long as it says high school gym, because just an arrow, people might still think, go to the middle school.
Oh.
Okay. And, so, I spoke with Kent Finnemore and Chuck. Kent wanted to, deputize me for the school district to hand out the ballots and count the ballots. And he's gonna make Chuck the deputy moderator for both fire and school. And then, Stephanie, who's the new fire district clerk, asked me to hand out the fire district ballots, so that's okay, I'll be there all day. I enjoy doing that, especially eating the pizza at the end of the night. Talking to everybody all day. All
So
right.
Darrell will be out of town hall all day, you'll be out of town hall. Okay.
Well, Kim will be here, and Tim
Jim.
and Gail
And Al.
and Al.
And Joanna.
And, well, Dari will be back in the,
You'll be back
Johanna.
and forth.
okay, so I think we're all set there. I emailed Chuck, because I didn't know if he was going to make those signs for the doors. He usually does that, but I told him we'd be happy to make the signs for him. We can even get them laminated so that we can use them for the other elections, so. Okay, so that's that. This is, I'm sorry it's not in color. I don't know if that's,
Excuse me.
that's the March Road. And the other thing I have to do is write the amendment for Article 9.
Do you read it?
Motion him to start there.
All right, so this is the cruiser logs. We met with C.R. Willicke on Caleb Hill Road today.
Sign this one?
It's
I haven't read
already
it yet.
approved. Catherine, Joe, and Pat were there. We taped the meeting, so if you want to watch it on the website, we put it up. It was a good meeting, I thought.
They explained about how they paid for it and when they paid their parts and how we choose the individuals that we're
Write
going
a
to use and
blurb about
when
that
we can
too.
go out for engineering. Actually, we can go out for engineering right now, kind of.
Yeah.
Or
Get ready for the RFQs and
Q, yeah.
Yep.
it's going to be a process, so.
And we're
Summer
gonna
of 18.
announce something at town meetings. You want something for that?
Something so Chuck can read.
Okay. I tried repeatedly to not redo our tattoo ordinance, but to put in references to body piercing. And I just didn't have a chance, because I thought we should definitely have copies of this available at town meeting if people ask and they want to see. Or Chuck can go ahead and put the thing up on the screen so people can see it when they're voting. Yes, so I haven't done that yet.
And I haven't done the trash bag change yet to the 5 bags. It's the trash bag, the trash ordinance. Remember, we voted to put in
Oh, yeah.
the
To the-
5-bag limit?
Okay, to the ordinance,
Yeah,
okay.
so,
Yep.
Okay, this doesn't say that we support the project. It says we're happy that they've extended the pricing to us.
And we have every intention of doing our part to,
Doesn't say that.
Complete March Road.
Appreciate the opportunity to participate.
yeah, and let us know if the Sanborn voters, so that we can plan accordingly.
So it kind of says it, but you have an "is" here that shouldn't be there. As this road travels through both towns.
Oh, yes. This road travels through both towns.
As this road travels through both towns.
So we gotta correct that. And then we,
I'll take a
As
second. Can you
this-
take the "is" out and reprint it?
This road is traveled.
take the "is" out.
"Is" out.
And, okay. And then we could, go ahead, read the rest. We just took that, I crossed it out.
Okay, housing standards. Do we want to talk about that?
We do want to talk about that.
Okay.
Where do we start?
Yes,
John wanted to talk about it.
yes, and you should all have a copy in your,
Okay, so I started looking through.
and I retained all the changes.
There was a lot of stuff, I don't even know where to start. Did we, this is pretty much what we had last year, but changed?
It's the same, I don't know what to do with it. It's the same, it's patterned after Pittsfield. This one, main change in it
Juggle now?
to incorporate the change in the law. The old one said that, when it described the board, that there would be members from the Board of Health, and then it said that selectmen couldn't be on the board. Well, in towns, by RSA, the Board of Selectmen is the Board of Health. So I asked them to correct that, because it contradicted the law. So what they added is the last sentence in 100.4, a selectman who concurrently serves as a member of the Municipal Board of Health must recuse themselves as an appointing authority and from their role as a selectman during an appeals process. That comes from the new law. And then there were some other things that I changed, because
Do you want the one that shows the changes?
only if you want to spend all night.
Oh.
No. But, you know, they may want to make it available to the rest of the members. There was some language in here that took authority away from the Board of Selectmen. So the health officer is appointed by the Board of Selectmen and then approved by the Commissioner of the Department of Health and Human Services. So I didn't want to take any authority away from the Board of Selectmen. In Pittsfield, they gave that authority to appoint the health officer to the new board. So those are some things that I changed. I retained the selectmen's authority in it. Other than that, I mean, the substance in the back, which I think most of people, and it gets down to what's enforceable. I think I made a grammatical change, and I think they were just making it clear that health officer, rather than hiring another health officer, if you will.
Now, did we give it to the attorney? We gave the other one to the attorney, right?
The attorney-
Last year.
This document has been looked at by local government center, Dan Crean.
Yeah, but didn't Dan Crean last year say that he didn't advise this one?
Dan Crean wanted to write his own. So if you wanted to pay him to invent another wheel, we can do that.
Well, let's go over some of the things that
Do we
I
have the
know.
correspondence? Did you ever send us correspondence between you and Dan Green?
I don't know. I think so.
Well,
I promise you. Yes, I'm pretty sure I did.
She sent me one, you want me to find it?
No, I'm just asking if we do. I'm just thinking ahead and for town meeting, if we get asked, I just want to make sure we're on. I'm just looking for
Marked it up.
being all on the same page. That's what I'm looking for.
But just because it's such a vast and pretty far-reaching ordinance, I think it should be, 32 pages should be reviewed by our attorney. And-
Why?
Okay.
Pittsfield attorney, Pittsfield attorney looked at it and talked to it.
But we made changes to it, though, Catherine.
This isn't, Pittsfield attorney, I don't even know his name.
Okay.
But here's the things that I found, was when we discussed it last year, we talked about getting together as a work session and have somebody representing that rents property out to take a look with their inputs on it. We say that if we're going to amend it, what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We said that if we're going, in 101.5, it says this ordinance of code can be amended by the Board of Selectmen subsequently to a duly noticed public hearing. Well, we have a duly noticed public hearing, but to look at this before we even create it.
You know, the subject of public hearing came up, and do you remember I got voted down on the subject of public hearing? To have a public hearing.
You know, I gotta
I'm
say
s-
something right here. I don't understand why people are objecting to this document. This is like the
Well, can I-
third year. So,
But-
I mean, really, all this is saying that is we want our people who live in
It's
rental
not,
units
Catherine. I
to
got
have
this last
safe
night.
housing. You got it this last year.
But I asked 3 weeks ago if you could give me a copy of what you were working
Wait
on
a
so that
minute.
I could look
Oh,
at it.
yes,
And I would like to continue
I
and tell you,
have sent this to the Board of Selectmen at least half a dozen times in the past 6 months.
I have not received an email copy that I asked for, and I would
Yes,
just
you
like to
have.
finish.
Oh, yes, you have. I know you have.
And-
Because when I send it to, it's been out there. It's
This
been
is
out
the
there.
first thing. Let me
We
go over
we have
what-
gotten email copies of it.
Yeah.
I know I have.
Yeah.
Now-
Yeah, the
Right
last
here.
one was saying, these are the final, I had to add the new
Yeah.
language from the
Yeah.
statute.
That was weeks
And
ago.
it was sometime in January or February,
Yes,
early February.
yes.
But judging from the phone calls that we're getting, that I'm getting,
And
the
I go
questions
over-
that
I
we're
have
getting.
questions I'd like to finish up with.
Go ahead.
One of the things is all rental dwelling units in all other areas attached to said dwelling units
Where are you?
located within 103.11.
Okay.
I can't see why, if I was to go and have a two-family house, I do have a two-family house that I'm presently living in as one family, that it should, my portion that only I am in should be inspected as well. The next thing I
Do you
have,
want me to answer that now, or?
no, I'll go through all of them, we
Oh,
can
I'd
go back
rather
through.
answer one at a time, because I'm not going to remember.
Okay.
I'm tired.
I'm probably going to be at least half an hour going over
That's
these, or
okay.
an hour.
That's okay. So the reason you would inspect, for example, I went and inspected yesterday. I inspected a two-family dwelling unit. The property owner lives in the upstairs and the tenant lives in the downstairs. Huge use of extension cord. So extension cords cannot be used in place of permanent wiring. There was exposed wiring in the hallways, they were fraught with all these things. There's no way of knowing if the upstairs is hardwired smoke detectors. Because right now, I can't inspect that private residence.
Oh, you got
But yet if it's attached, if it's part of a building that has tenants in it, what happens in that unit affects the safety of the tenants. If there's no hardwired smoke detector and they have a fire, tenant isn't gonna know. If they have exposed wiring that can cause a fire, Who knows? You're not there.
But isn't the law, wait a minute, can I ask a question? Isn't the law that you have to have hardwired fire detection for your tenant, but you don't have to have it for your dwelling?
Everybody else will go with it.
I have to look up I have it over there. Just want to refer to.
Okay.
The only thing that, right now, the minimum standards, and boy,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, they are minimum.
So if that were true, then you could come over to the other part of the duplex, which would be the landlords, and say, they don't have hard wiring.
Right, and that's just one small example. I
Okay.
inspected one, I'm going to say 2013. It was more than a couple of years ago. And the tenant brought me down in the basement. They
Oh, I remember that.
allowed me to go into the basement. They said, here, come and look at this.
When somebody was living there.
No, that's another story. So I go down into the basement, and, oh my God, it's horrible. Under the section of the house, the kitchen unit that the homeowner lived in, the property owner lived in, the drain in the kitchen sink had been broken for, I'm going to say months, because when I walked around the corner and walked into that section of the basement, I'm going to tell you, and everybody can know, I almost gagged. It was absolutely unbelievable. There on the floor was this pool of septic water that had been just percolating for years. And then there were other things, that there was, you could see a pile of raw sewage, and you could see where they fixed it, but the pile of raw sewage was there. It had, dried up. When I went back upstairs, the homeowner was absolutely livid that the tenant brought me down. Of course, it was too late. I had permission from one. I didn't know that that tenant didn't have access to the basement. So if they hadn't brought me down there, and the homeowner had come in there and said, you can't go in there, I never would have known. But because I did know, I was able to say, you have to fix this. You see? So there are things that...
If I can go through, what things, now this applies to hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts.
Yeah.
So, one of the things is the size of the rooms. Because if you have like the Motel 6 and you have 2 queen beds in one of those rooms, that's 10 by 14, 2 queen beds is intended to have 4 people, then that's an illegal hotel room.
I don't believe
It's 120 feet for
Where are
the
you
first.
at now?
I should just stayed on the single.
These are the
Go page
questions
by
that we're
page.
going to get to Saturday. That's okay.
I mean,
Be
you know,
prepared
if
for
they
them.
don't pass it, it's fine, but at least it got to them, and they can decide. Doesn't matter to me.
Let's see, I'll get to that in a little bit. But, and we got, so this applies to hotels, motels, beds, breakfast establishments and everything, which would be like the Tilton Inn and,
But I believe what you're talking about, the minimum requirements, which is what?
I had some more questions about that when I get to it though.
Okay, I see what you're saying, where you're,
Which one are you on?
Okay, I'm good at
103.13.
103.16.
404.1.2 is the minimum area requirements for hotel units, rooming units, dormitory units, 150 square feet now, floor area.
The cost at 103.16, the costs of the hearings, if we have to have an attorney present, or if it turns out that the hearing turns out that the tenant wins, the cost shall be borne by the Housing Standards Board of Tilton, so.
So the town's on.
That's right.
Okay. Non-habitable spaces such as attic storage rooms, sheds, basements, and areas included in 103.20 that are adjacent to any dwelling unit shall meet all the standards in this code. So if I have a shed in the backyard that I have things stored in, that will be inspected. If I have a two-family house, my garage will be inspected, that they have no access to, and be subject to all these, which means you can't even have a crack in the,
That means my workshop's going to be inspected.
That
yeah,
one is,
and you can't even have a crack in the glazing.
well, that one is very subjective. So if you had a shed, we'll stake my property because I know it. I've got a house,
sorry.
let's say I've got
329330.
rental units in it. I have a shed
103.21.
and barn that's hundreds of feet away from the house, rental units. It isn't, whatever happens there isn't really going to affect the house. But now I have a garage that's less than 6 feet from the house.
Okay, but see, this doesn't say that.
I know.
And it's on
Well-
the same piece of property. Could be assumed by the tenants that if they're renting a space on this piece of property, they can use any part of the property. And it's
No,
adjacent
that's
to
not
it,
what it
or
says.
perhaps the utilities are tied into it,
That's not what
or
it
their
says.
kids could get out there and play. It shouldn't include some of those, or it should say they're less than 25 feet.
You can't assume that, because there's landlords that have lots of property that have storage on the property that rent it out and have locks on that storage
Right.
area that tenants don't have access to.
Yeah, but that's
I am-
subject to
So here's
inspection.
Here's an example. I inspected a multifamily apartment building on the east part of Tilton a number of years ago, and there was a shed. Now, this shed was not pretty. It was about, I don't know, probably, it was within 20 feet of the apartment building. And the tenant had called me there because, one tenant, because of rodents. Okay, well, I found, droppings in the apartment, and there was some evidence of rodents, but you find that, I mean, it wasn't horrible, they had traps out, they were catching one every so often, it wasn't a horrible situation, but I notified the landlord. When I went back to re-inspect, I got out of my car and noticed a sizable rat running into that shed. I thought, wow, okay, so I asked the landlord, I said, can I look in that shed? He goes, well, I don't rent that, they don't have access to it, I'm not sure what it was, just saw a rat run into the shed. I really think I need to look in the shed. So he did, he had a padlock, he opened it up, and it was full of bags of stuff. And some of it was garbage that, he had put in there and forgot about. Well, at least that's what he told me then. Bags of clothes, just rotten and moldy. And I kicked one of them, and you should have seen the vermin come running out. So I made him clean out the shed. But, some of this is subjective, and we're going to have to go through this, and as I use it, I'm going to bring things to you and saying, look, we need to change this, or as we read it. That's why I asked Joyce to add this in the 101.5 that allows the Board of Selectmen to change this ordinance.
The difference in your examples are going to be that those are people that called in, as opposed to going through every single property in town and inspecting it. That's the difference. If people
Okay.
have some type of thing, or they could have been contacted by the health officer, do you have any problems or
That's right.
noticing these things? And
So what this would have done in that instance is, it wouldn't have waited for my second visit when I happened to see the rat. If I had seen that rat, I wouldn't have gone in that building because it wasn't being rented by anyone. But with this ordinance, that first visit, I would have gone into the building. I would
But-
have gone into that shed, and okay, this is where the home is. You created a home environment for rodents, get rid of it, and
But the thing is the way, and I don't want to go and debate everyone, these are going to be things that were brought up to me as well from other
Yeah,
people.
sure.
So just so that you know where we're going to
And
be
we
with
can
this.
strengthen-
And
we can-
those are things that are brought up because people are complaining to you about it. We're talking about people who have nice properties or, maintain their stuff. being subjected to these.
So I have a rental property, and I have my shed. You see the vermin run into my shed, you can inspect it. Now, I have a neighbor with a single-family unit with a shed, and the vermin runs in there. Can you go in and inspect that?
Single-family home, no, it's a private dwelling unit. Well,
Oh, but the
Not-
vermin can affect me the same way as it
I'm
could
not
with...
done. I'm not done. You need to be quiet. Not under this ordinance, but under New Hampshire State Law 147,
You could.
yes.
She could.
Yes, I can declare it a nuisance, yes. It's a danger to public health and safety.
However, if you have a 150-year-old home, single home, and you just don't update anything, and you've got the really old cloth wiring and everything else, you're not subject to what the duplex, a 150-year-old duplex is subjected to.
That's because I'm not renting to somebody.
Standards, I mean, the state's minimum housing standards, do they require a certain level of electrical updating?
That's very subjective. It basically just says, it's basically up to the health officer to decide what that is. Here's one for plumbing. There is
For
effective internal
A health
plumbing.
officer can decide
Exposed
electrical?
wires, improper
Wow.
connectors, defective switch or outlets, or other conditions which create a danger of electrical shock or fire.
And that's
I
a law.
don't get where the health officer can inspect electrical, I just don't
If
get
I
that.
can go
Now, Code
to-
enforcement, yes, but...
105.3, required testing.
Depends on how much education.
Whenever there is insufficient evidence of compliance with the provisions of this code,
Right.
or evidence material does not conform to the requirements of this code, and it goes on, says the code official can have the authority to require tests to be made as evidence to compliance at no expense to the town. So, and I know you're a fair person, you protect things, but what they could do is say that this deck does not meet the load requirements and require the person who owns the property, even if this is their own private deck and not the tenant's deck, to go and have that tested by a structural engineer at their cost to prove that those footings in that deck does fit it. That could be required.
And if the engineer says the landlord was fine...
It would be
he has
unfair,
to
and
eat
they'd probably sue the
cost, even
town,
though
and
he
it
was
would
not
cost
wrong.
the town money for it. So, all tests shall be performed by an approved agency. There's no definition of what an approved agency is.
Where are you, John?
105.3.2.
Page 8.
All tests shall be performed by an approved agency. It doesn't say what an approved
Well, you
agency
could
would
say
be.
accredited, but I don't think.
What's
you're
an
required-
accredited?
I don't think you're required to be accredited in the state of New Hampshire.
But it doesn't say who approves them. Is it approved by
The
the state,
board?
the board?
Or the board that's created when you get this?
And why shouldn't I be able to have anybody certify that why is the burden to prove that my deck is structurally strong enough when it passed building inspections
It
going to
might not
support
have.
that load?
Well, it didn't pass the building inspection,
No
how do you get
building
a
inspector ever
CO?
approved anything on my property. It's over 200 years old.
So you
Well,
might,
I take it
so
back.
you would have to go
So
and
you've
get the
done no
load
updates in 200 years?
I just took it back. I forgot about Rapunzel's Tower.
in a 200, so in a 100-year-old house, before somebody could occupy it, you might have to have a structural engineer come in and certify that the floors are load-bearing enough to hold a refrigerator.
Not in a single-family home, this is just
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah.
They get away with anything.
She's talking one duplex.
Yeah. So, okay,
It's true, this is what it's about.
but what's that?
The intent is we eliminate the inhabitable disaster that we found this past couple of years in Tilton. That's the intent of this, so that we could have some teeth to go forward. Now, is this perfect? I don't think so.
No.
Will it ever be perfect? I don't think so. But it took us a few years at least for a parking ordinance, and now we're talking about landlord rental
start with the
licenses and...
No, I'm on 302.4,
All
weeds.
See, all these things, if somebody
gonna have to leave
complains
my
or
yard
somebody
now.
brings it up to your
You're gonna
attention,
rent part of it.
you have all these things already to do it. I can't see, and there are some other questions there. I can't see the feasibility, what it will cost, how many units there are in town, how long it will take, what
Do
we
we
need
know
for
how many
employees to do it.
Yeah, I started compiling it last year, and then, I mean, I have a binder that Lauren was able to, through the assessing files, and I printed out the cards, and I started a binder, but, so this, if this passes, you wouldn't be doing you'd stagger them, I mean, you wouldn't be doing all the...
It starts
dwelling-
immediately. We
dwelling
need
units
to
in one
budget
year.
for it. If we're gonna have somebody, I mean, does the fire department sign off on this?
No.
I thought the fire chief's involved in the board.
He's part of the board, so here's your,
So-
let's say it's not me, a health officer goes out and they come to my house, and I got somebody living in my garage, and they want to go in my house, which is attached to my garage. And they say, okay, you can't have this person in here because your floor is not safe in your garage, this, that, and the other, and I want to appeal it. Now I appeal it. I don't have to run out and pay for the test or change my floor or whatever. I appeal it to the board. And the board sits in judgment of the health officer's decision, and we appeal. So there's a process that the property owner can go through if right now, every notice I send out describes their ability to contact the Board of Health, and if they don't approve of my decision or what, my conclusions or what I'm trying to make them do.
Or make, like you said, your garage, your garage was perfect, but they came into your house and your water temperature was the wrong temperature, you would...
That would be wrong.
But it says that you can do that
Right, but
now.
that's where the appeal process comes in.
But then you would have to go and appeal and go to, and maybe to the selectmen and to this board, that you want your water at 111 degrees, that you can't change it or whatever. Sometimes it hits 112, you live there by yourself, whatever. You like the fact that some of the glazing in the putty in your window has a little crack on it, or there's a crack in your own basement that the tenants aren't going to access, that there's a little crack in the wall because it's a stone foundation. So you get written up, you appeal it, you lose it. Now, this goes out to your mortgagee, gets notified
When
of
did the
these.
mortgagee get notified?
Well, I'll get
It
to
says
that in a minute.
here that-
Says in here.
yeah.
So all the
I forgot
mortgagees,
about that.
interests, and everything, and so now you could be thrown out of your house. You could have some person that's just trying to go and pay their taxes, they could be retired, out of work or something, renting out a small unit, and their own personal home that they can't afford to redo their foundation, do all replacement windows, which you can't do replacement windows because they will decrease the width of the window by any certain amount. So you can't even install replacement windows in your own home with this, even if the tenant's not there.
Every ordinance that we have, there's a possibility of an enforcer being very unreasonable.
But this is the requirements of what you have to do. Being unreasonable would be doing things that are not in here. These things are reasonable because they are a law and an ordinance.
Doesn't mean they're reasonable, it's just that they're an ordinance.
Okay, responsibility, the owner of premises shall
Where are you
maintain, I'm at 301.2. The owner of the premises, maybe I just had a question on this, let's see. Okay, a person shall not occupy as an owner occupant or permit another person to occupy premises that are not in sanitary, safe conditions or comply to the requirements. One of the requirements is ceiling height, 6 foot 7 inches in the basement, no lower than that, ductwork or anything.
Get out of town.
6 foot?
7 inches. So my basement, my house, I can tell you
I have to duck.
that there are sections, when I go down to my laundry,
I have a crawl space.
I have some ductwork
Yeah,
that is
I'm
there.
in trouble.
yeah.
That,
And I'm a rental.
and now, although this space in my house that I'm not gonna let tenants in is subjected to being shut down, notifying my mortgagee, having me go to appeals, possibly losing my homeowner's insurance, because my house is like every other house.
Damn builder didn't give me enough space down in the basement.
Well, damn you, don't be a landlord.
Well, I planned on, I have no retirement. I don't have a pension, I have nothing. I planned on, at some time, when my kids are done, to rent out part of my house so I can pay the taxes and pay for things and still live in town. I can't do that with this. I've lost my home and my retirement. Okay? This would be the
301,
responsibility
301, it's on page
as
15.
owner occupant.
15, okay.
301.
Before you turn the page, John, I got a couple on that page.
Oh, I get
Oh, you're gonna hit 'em?
302, I get 302.4, that's
I wonder where
mine.
you guys were in January.
And the one above it.
Okay, I'm going, you can start with 3023.
Yeah. So wait, I can't have any ice or snow on my tenant's driveway, so does that mean if I'm in the aquifer area, I have to salt the hell out of it to prevent ice from building up?
Heated driveway.
You can do 4, I may dovetail with you.
Okay, 302.4, all premises and exterior of the property shall be maintained free of
For your
weeds. Now, if I can't rent my property out because I didn't weed my vegetable garden, I would think, now, they're going to legalize weeds,
I'm going to go to bankruptcy court tomorrow.
or get a goat.
I know.
You can't have a goat.
I can't have a goat.
I believe I told you it's very subjective.
It can't be
Well, that's
subjective.
You
gonna be a
can't
problem.
write it without being, you know, you want to see the national code?
What, this is a Pittsfield code, this is Tilton. I wanted something that's right for Tilton.
Page 15.
The other thing, okay, if we go, oh, did you have,
Yeah, I see.
So 302.4 would probably be about 6 pages long if you listed all the noxious weeds.
oh, why do we have to?
Poison ivy, poison sumac. You want to see my poisonous mushroom over there? I took off the playing field at the middle school?
Well, then why didn't you shut down the middle school?
Oh, I took the
What kind of
poisonous
people are they
mushroom.
sending our kids to
poisonous
being
mushroom in
subjected to
there.
Why can I
mosquitoes?
grow my noxious weeds on my single-family home lot, but if I'm a
I mean, do you see what I'm saying?
I can't,
family
I
or more,
can't,
I
I think
can't.
this is great.
So do you want me to?
Is the
do you
weed
want it
not,
to
is
list
less
every-
toxic?
I mean,
No, I don't think it should be in there.
You don't
This
think?
is about
so you
rental
think it's
units,
okay
so-
with
No,
the
well,
poisonous house
It's
schools?
about rental units. It's not about
I don't
every
think that
unit.
anybody
Yeah, it's
knew about it,
You-
and I think it was
But
great
I'm
that
looking
somebody
at the-
caught it.
You grow in.
But I don't think that my property should be inspected
I
for
can't,
weeds.
'cause I'm-
What,
I'm
let's
at-
go, wait,
Using the hammer.
I mean,
Let's-
so it's okay.
one conversation.
If I have a rental unit and I don't mow the lawn and I have poison ivy everywhere,
That's why I don't mow it.
that's okay?
No, but that doesn't say that.
but-
This says that you can't have weeds. It's gotta be
Then-
weed-free.
Okay, then,
That's all.
like I said,
How
I
do-
wish
How
you
do we
guys had done
define
this in
excessive plant
January.
growth?
We waited until now? I mean, actually, I've highlighted some of this too.
Okay, 303.17, guards for basement windows. Every basement window that is openable shall be supplied with rodent shields, storm windows, and other protection to prevent entry of rodents. Now, I just got casement windows for my basement at Lowe's, and they're approved casement windows. It came with screens, but I called over there and asked them if they have rodent shields for my casement windows, and they didn't know what I was talking about. Why do I have to put rodent shields on my casement windows?
Rodent shields or other things. You don't have to
Or
put
other
rodent shields.
approved,
Or other approved protectors.
So show your windows prevent rodents from going in. I
They
mean,
got
I
a
can
screen.
show you one next
got a
door
screen.
that the basement window, well, maybe they fixed it because it's, you know, all taped up with duct tape. Now there's a good rodent shield,
and I can tell you,
gotta tell you.
it's screens. You're required to have screens.
Yes.
Which I think that's reasonable. Somebody else may not, but I don't like Zika mosquitoes. So, it says rodent shields. Somebody could get shut
Or
down.
other approved protection against the entry of rodents.
What isn't approved?
Solid window?
Yeah. Glass.
But it's openable. It says it's every basement window that's openable.
I'm here to tell you
Okay.
that
Or
if
other
those
approved
rats
protection
learn to
against the
open
entry of
windows, I'm out.
What is approved protection against entry of rodents?
Is my 12 gauge?
Something that prevents rodents from entering the building other than
That would do it.
Of course, then I'll get hit for
Screen?
discharging in a compact area.
Cats.
Only something.
There you
No,
go.
that isn't.
Northfield, Samberton, and
Those
Belmont
cats.
Police.
But it-
I have my cats.
Cats eventually go lay down someplace.
Rifles.
Karen Terriers never lay down on the job.
Yeah, my little
Unless
rat
it's a skunk.
terrier.
Oh, no, they don't do that either, John. Trust me.
This is fun, keep going.
Okay.
Fun, for Christ's sake,
Well, it's a
fun.
good, it's a good practice.
Yes, good practice.
I wish, like I said, I'm gonna
Okay.
say it again, I wish you'd done it in January.
Just multiply this time 100.
But you know, Kevin, it's
Every-
just common sense things. If you've got, you want to make sure you're.
I'm already
best you
doomed.
can.
I'm just the
law
first
is
10 he
sex
spouted
is
out.
subjective. This is so subjective, it's crazy.
All right, what else, John?
Oh, do the windows, the exteriors, they must be
Oh,
clean.
I get to
Yeah,
that.
clean windows.
Clean
Shut down
windows.
town hall.
We're not ready.
We don't have
Yeah,
screens
I don't rent anything. I'd be
We
in
don't know, we could have transients. Every,
All glazing material shall be
in
maintained
approved
free from
containers.
cracks and
Okay.
holes.
See, once again, on 305.2, it says placing in approved containers. There's,
I've already highlighted that whole section because it really needs to be according to the ordinance we already have.
why do we need to have this? So a lot of these things, we already have ordinances, we have laws that protect them. Why do we need to
Well,
go?
we only approved the littering ordinance, the trash ordinance, a few weeks ago?
And that's,
So this.
And that's
this
going to change
predates-
probably.
This predates that ordinance, so.
okay. 305.2.1, the last sentence, it says, and shall dispose of all rubbish and garbage on a weekly basis at a licensed solid waste facility. Where can I take my trash now? I need to find a licensed?
You used to be able to take it to Casella's. I had that arrangement set up with Casella, until the residents could take their
So where can
garbage and
I,
recyclables there.
We can take our recyclables there now.
Yeah. But like I said, I already have that on section highlighted.
But look at 404.2, minimum room widths. A habitable room other than a kitchen shall not be less than 7 feet in any plan dimension. Kitchen shall have a clear passageway of not less than 3 feet between counters, fronts, and appliances, or counter fronts and walls. Shall not be less than 7 feet in any plan dimension. A room. Well, I'm really in trouble.
You have rooms that are 7 feet?
Less than 7 feet.
Well, that would be a closet.
Wait.
Bathroom, maybe.
A ceiling height of not less than 7 feet.
Minimum room width.
Typical
A room
ceiling height
width is
is
6 feet. I have a room that's
80?
less than 6 feet.
I rented, literally
No, 80
rented
inch,
a closet.
typical height?
I get-
It's not a
my house
first
is
move
nice.
to
I
New
get-
Hampshire.
I rented a little closet.
super high 8-foot
What's a
ceiling,
typical
except for my
door?
basement, but
78 or 80 inches.
That sounds right.
So if I have a 78, if I don't have 6 inches
Not
over,
be less than 7 feet in any plan dimension.
So I have a couple rooms that are less than 7
Kitchen
feet.
shall have a clear passageway of not less
Two
than 3
bedrooms.
feet. Well,
Can you get a bed in there for
Yeah.
7 feet?
A twin,
Is anything else in there?
barely. Seriously.
going back, because I'm at 401.1.
4011.
Can we call out for pizza or something?
Should. Okay, space,
401.1, responsibility? Is that what one you're on?
Okay, a person shall not occupy as an owner occupant or permit other persons to occupy on any premises that do not comply with the requirements of this article. So Pat, you got to move out,
Why?
because you are an owner occupant in your home that's non-compliant.
Who the hell said I'm non-compliant?
You just said your room's less than 7 feet.
We're going to go over there shortly, and they're going to start...
We're going to have a hearing for you.
That room is off.
If you can get beyond my dogs, you're welcome.
In lieu of means for natural light ventilation here described, artificial light and mechanical ventilation complying with the International Building Code shall be permitted.
The minimum total glazed area for every habitable space shall be 8% of the floor area in any such room. That's
What do you mean by glazed area?
Is that a window?
the window, the actual glass part.
The
I'm
pane.
talking
Has
window.
to
During
be
ventilation.
8% of the size of your floor, minimum.
How are you at math?
You're the math guy, buddy.
Well, I just want to know,
And
can she
take that
calculate the
7-foot
8%, or are we going to be appealing?
So wait a minute, every room has to have
Except
a
for the
window,
bathroom,
in other
Not the
words.
bathroom.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Every room has to have a
Not
window.
the bathroom.
Yeah.
Every habitable room. The bathroom doesn't. That can
Habitable room has to have a window.
Actually, I think
Every
that's state fire code anyway.
habitable room has to have,
prevent- A window.
I'm in compliance.
I think that's state fire code.
So
Except for the bathroom, you gotta have a window. So, you know,
I have
if there's a
I
fire,
have
you can
a window in
at
every
least
room, I'm good.
get saved without chopping through
One
the
out of
wall.
20, we're batting.
Submerge yourself?
It says the windows have to be clean, though.
Where does it say
Well,
that?
again, shut it
does say
down.
that in
It
here.
does
It
say.
does say that, yep.
Yeah, I've read
Okay.
that.
In
Are you
402.2,
Yeah.
And it says
Your
we
hallway lights have to be on at all
3.2,
times.
John?
4022.
402.2,
202.
it shall
60
be,
Yep.
watts standard incandescent light. I have LEDs. Now
take
what
them
am I
out,
going to
you gotta
do?
put 60-watt incandescent bulbs in there.
Well,
Yes.
just- yeah, so we need to take,
Or...
For each 200.
Or equivalent illumination.
yeah.
Oh, you lucked out on 4022, Pat. Other than 1 and 2 family dwellings. You dodged a bullet there.
Every common hall and stairway in residential occupancies other than 1 or 2 families shall be lighted at all times.
Yeah.
It's not lighted at all times.
No, but you're only a 2.
Who wants to have a light in their
You're
hallway on
exempt.
all times?
You're exempt. Thank God you're not a 3-family, because then you'd have to.
Well, that would be if it was a common hall between it with another unit.
Okay,
It says every common home.
I get it.
dwelling
Sorry.
units.
I'm thinking my setup at home,
Well, I'm thinking like
I
next door.
crab if the porch light's
they-
left on at night.
So all these big apartments, the halls are already lit?
It's supposed to
Well, I
be.
haven't been in every single one of them, but I know this one over here, they, you know,
Should be
sometimes
laundry rooms or,
the
So
light bulbs go
now
out,
look
but
at
yeah.
4031.
Are you checking the wattages on those bulbs?
Every habitable
Not
space
now.
shall have at least one openable window.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hate that word.
Openable. The total openable area of the window in every room shall be equal to at least 45% of the minimum glazed area required in 4021, except where rooms and spaces without openings to the outdoor are ventilated through adjoining room. I'm okay there, they all open. It takes an army to open them, but they open.
without other means, I think you're, okay. 404.1.2, minimum area requirements. Dwelling units, hotel units, rooming units, and dormitory units shall contain at least 150 square feet of habitable floor area, excluding the bathroom and kitchen areas, for the first occupant, and at least 100 additional square feet of inhabitable place for each additional part. So if you have a hotel room that has 2 queen beds in it, which is intended to have 4 people, that would have to have 150 for the first person, plus 300 additional square feet for the other people that are going to stay in that hotel room. We just wiped out every hotel room, I think,
Like
or
the
most of
Lord
You
them
lost
Hilton
me
Inn.
a hotel room with 2 clean beds and
So,
Most hotels advertise single and double occupancy.
What about the Lord Hampshire?
I don't think I've ever seen one that
People
says
rent
quadruple
well,
occupancy.
I've gone with,
So it says that are designed
Remember we went in
for.
and saw 'em? You just.
but they even give you an extra bed that they can wheel in there.
They rent.
But, you know, I've gone to a hotel room and had 2 queens, you know, with the kids, and my wife and I would sleep in one bed, and we'd put the kids in there for
Yep.
spend the night and traveling.
That
But
would be
we would
nice.
have to have 250 plus 3, so where was that? 3,
You
4,
calculated?
5, 550 square feet room, which I don't think you can get at the Trump Towers. A 550 square foot hotel room. And I don't know what it would cost.
You're gonna in Tilton. That's the,
Okay.
you're gonna see it.
Do we have to call it Trump Towers?
I just saw it.
Don't
Okay.
even mention that name, will you,
Romneyville.
please?
Okay. Minimum ceiling
What number
height.
was that?
I think we went over this, but the laundry areas,
404.1.
404.1.2.
404.3.
20 by 25 feet.
Ceiling height not
that
less than
big.
6 feet 8 inches, with not less than 6 inches of clear height under beams, girders, ducts, or other similar instructions. Now, a lot of houses have forced hot air, and they can't afford to change their whole heating system because the ductwork, or, you know, because they want to rent it, and their ductwork is in there. And this will be inspected, they have no choice. And adjacent properties are subject to the same. Area for sleeping purposes, every bedroom occupied by one person shall contain at least 70 feet of floor area, and
Well, you're
every,
qualifies.
I'm at 404.41.
If your room is 10 by 7,
Yeah.
That's 70 feet.
that's 70 feet. You're okay?
Yes. And shall be occupied more than, but if it's occupied by an additional person, somebody comes in there, or if you have a crib in there or something, it would have to be
Or an overnight guest for one night?
So
120 square
according
feet.
to this, you couldn't have that other person if it wasn't more
It's
than.
only 10 by 12.
But
That's
it's
not a
my
big room,
house.
10 by 12.
It's my house. I'm not renting my downstairs in my house. If
No,
I have a
that's true.
10 by 10 room, and I want to have some floozy over for the night, and sleep in a twin bed. You're
charging
her? On the end of it.
Be
We're
spending-
gonna go off that.
I could,
Code
I could,
official.
they're gonna call my
Oh, I don't
mort,
want to go check on somebody's floozy.
my mortgagee could get notified about me doing this, okay?
I'll be hanging out with floozies.
I don't have time, I'm at these meetings. I'm with all us floozies here.
So, but 2 people can be in at least 50 square feet?
50 plus.
By more than, shall contain at least 50 of floor area.
Additional, okay, 404.4.2, access from bedrooms. Now, I understand that if you're sleeping in a bedroom or you have a room, you shouldn't have to go through somebody else's room to access if there's a fire, an emergency.
Yeah, that's fire code.
But an habitable room is also sometimes, and we had it at our farm, we had what Granny called was a sewing room, and it was off of, and it had been in the house since about 250 years, and off of the bedroom, there was a small room that they did sewing in. I put my desk in there. That's a habitable room. That would make that unit illegal, because I could not go to that room, because I'd have to go through the bedroom to do it. It was off of the bedroom, a little reading room, or, you know, a lot of houses have it. And even new buildings have those things. I didn't go through this and look at it. But 404.6, food preparation. All space occupied for food preparation contain suitable space and equipment to store, prepare, and serve foods in a sanitary manner. Storing food. When I had my tenants, when I lived in Burlington, I made them supply the refrigerator. this says that I would have to supply it. And the reason why I did is because I didn't want to deal with their messes and stuff like that, and that's their responsibility.
Where
if
does
they
it
want.
say that we have to supply it? No, it doesn't.
It says, shall
All
contain
spaces to be
suitable space
occupied.
and equipment to store, prepare, and serve foods in a sanitary
But
manner.
it doesn't say we need to supply it. It needs to say they have to have the right equipment to store, prepare, and serve food in a sanitary manner.
So your tenant doesn't have the Tupperware and it gets inspected, who does it fall upon? The owner or occupant on the other half?
Okay, shall contain suitable space and
There.
equipment to store. So before you even rent this out, you have to show that you have equipment there that's
Tupperware.
suitable to serve foods in a sanitary manner. Would that be refrigerated to, I forget what the temperature is.
41 degrees.
So
I've already been through the
Used to be
tenants
40,
from
but
hell
it's now 41.
already.
that's-
I've already seen what can be done with perishable foods in a shut-off refrigerator
okay,
for a few months. I seen that,
Like a science
okay,
experiment.
more than that.
water heating facilities, in 505.2, it says adequate amount of water. It's kind of vague. It doesn't say
Adequate, John.
What's adequate? You know,
More than a trickle.
yeah. No, if it's a shower,
Bed and
my kids are there, that's a 2-hour supply of hot water.
It's rooming
Or
houses.
if I'm in there on the way to work, it's about 3 minutes of cold water.
House, maybe.
Probably. Catherine,
I think
bed and breakfast on top of 23, is that a rooming house? Is it a dwelling unit? Is it a hotel? Or was it left out?
I don't know what you're asking me, dwelling units?
Well, we got some descriptions of what you need to do, and they're going over dwelling units, rooming houses, hotels. Because like dwelling unit, each unit has its own bathtub and shower.
Yeah,
But like some of your bed and breakfasts, don't you share a common bath area among?
dwelling unit in the town of Tilton's ordinance is a
includes,
permanent housing, so
Okay, where do bed and
Rooming
breakfasts
unit.
fall?
those are transient.
Rooming houses.
I think
Rooming
that's in-
house is transient, hotel is transient.
So the bed and breakfast is a rooming house? Or is,
It's a transient, it's not a dwelling unit.
well, which one, so is it 5022 or 5023 or?
502.2 in our definition, in our zoning ordinance.
So is a water
These are
closet?
the things that apply.
Toilet.
as
It's
well.
a,
It can
Water
be-
closet's the toilet.
It can be just a
A sink.
sink.
It can be a sink? I thought it was your old-fashioned toilets where the water tank was up overhead where you had
Not
your
a
pull
water
chain.
closet.
Yeah.
Water closet can just be a sink.
Okay.
How is the sink the closet? I was thinking with the toilet, you got the water
That's all there
tank.
is. I can tell you, in one of our apartment buildings, the landlord was renting a really nice unit, and until he realized it didn't have its own bathroom. So the tenant, they agreed to it before they rented it, had to leave their apartment, walk down the hall, and you open the door, and it was a
Propane.
closet, it was a cubby, and right in front of you was a
Propane
sink,
uses
so that's where they washed their
sit in the room.
hands. And
They're ventless.
they had to go down around the corner where they had a shower and a
A
toilet
flame,
in another area.
that shouldn't apply.
So that would be called a water closet.
Oh, see, I thought like that, where that toilet wasn't there was a water
If
closet.
you go back and
in England, what they did is all water in houses is gravity fed. And on the top floor of the house, they would have in a closet, a large container. And your water would fill up to there, and then it would gravity flow to all your sinks and water heaters and tubs. I don't know if that could be another.
Anyway, it says you can't pee in a sink.
Yeah, you can.
A kitchen
You can
sink.
swear to that.
Not talking about Schaefer Stadium.
Well, not recently, but back in the day, I have peed in the sink. I'm not the
Yeah.
only one.
No, you're not.
A kitchen sink should not be
I
used.
just,
Well, not the kitchen sink, no.
let's bring it back here.
It is 70 degrees, so they have to maintain temperature too, it's not
That's what she was gonna
68.
say about the water
Right now,
closet.
it
Well, they had to wash their
is,
hands and they had to-
it's 65, I believe. 65 degrees to a temperature of at least an average of 65 degrees.
So, and these all say 70.
That's right. So an average of 65, that could be
And that's,
63.
yeah, 3 feet above the floor, 2 feet from the center of the room. I mean, inward from any exterior wall. Yeah. I studied that. Okay.
Joe, too much information from you.
603.1, all mechanical appliances, fireplaces, solid wood burning, cooking appliances, water heating appliances shall be properly installed and maintained in safe working conditions to comply and capable of performing the intended function. Now, an unused fireplace in a unit that's rented out, you would block it off, but this says that it must be maintained in safe working condition.
Okay, so if it's blocked off, that's a safe working condition, is it not, when you blocked it off?
It's a
not working.
non-working condition.
Because the tenant could say, well, you know, I was
Okay,
supposed
wait a
to
minute.
rent this
No,
place and
no.
the fireplace doesn't
If you
work.
have a fireplace and the bricks aren't falling out and there's nothing, you used it and then decided not to and you blocked it off, it's in working condition, because if you decided to take the block off and use it again, you would simply make a fire in it and use it.
But it may
That's
not, it may not be.
Working condition.
But it may not be working condition. It could be that the chimney's unlined and everything, so I blocked it off and it made it
Then
unusable.
it doesn't exist anymore, does it, in the room?
It is there, it's a fireplace, it's in the room, tenants can
It's not
say.
in the room, you've blocked it off.
Oh, wait a minute.
Decommissioned.
This
That's
tells
right.
me am I reading this right on 6023?
Yeah.
That I have to supply heat to 70
No,
degrees
We went to it 65 now.
in all habitable rooms, bathrooms, toilets, unless occupants have said you lower the thermostat setting. What happens to the older houses? Hypothetically,
Not yours, you're not talking about yours.
that have no heat in some of the bedrooms.
Even with today's 48A standard, you're in trouble.
Not her, of course, but
Yes, it is.
somebody would have
Someone
that.
hypothetically.
Ambient
Even
heat
if it's
coming
her
up.
bedroom,
No.
you are
The
in trouble.
current law
because
states, here is the current law. This is currently what I enforce. The premises do not have heating facilities, and this is subjective, that are properly installed, safely maintained, and in good working condition, or are not capable of safely and adequately heating all habitable rooms, bathrooms, and toilet rooms located therein to a temperature of at least an average of 65 degrees. Now, the only exception is that is if the landlord supplies heat in consideration for rent, or, there's an agreement, like I said,
So
that,
that one said capable of, correct?
You turn up the one to
Well,
85.
No, so if I can show you that my HVAC guy spec'd out my heater is capable of heating the house, I can still choose to,
Not heat it.
if I walk in, when I walk into an apartment, I have
Which is
two of them, they're digital
really-
thermometers, and I
Who the hell
don't
wants a bedroom
If,
heater?
and if I go in there, so right now, it's an average of 65 degrees, so if I have a tenant complaining that they don't have enough heat, I go in and take a temperature reading and it's 64 degrees, and I inform them, you have adequate heat. If I go in there and take a temperature reading of 60 or 59, then they don't have adequate heat.
And that's at 10 degrees outside or negative 10 or what?
My tenants all
There's no-
have heat in their
It has
bedrooms.
nothing to do with the temperature
Just so you
outside.
know.
In here, it does say that.
Right, this, right now, what I enforce is year-round. So right now, today, if I went and inspected an apartment and the heat was not at least 65, well, like I said, I have a variable I use, then the landlord's in trouble. If they're supposed to be supplying heat,
your gas, your hibachi,
They're in
25 feet
Now,
from your structure.
the only problem that I see with this,
6035?
I have some rooms in my house
Just say yes.
that I've closed off, I don't use
Mine
it.
isn't.
Okay, then that doesn't,
But it does, because
Right.
I have a rental, well, I don't have a rental unit yet, but when I do...
I have a friend who has a rental unit.
No, when I put it back to two-family,
My rental unit all has heat in the bedroom. I chose not to in my bedroom.
that would be...
okay, that's your choice.
But,
Like it
so
says you
that's
have to.
okay.
But it says you have to do it.
But it's a dwelling, it's a, now, it's a,
Don't occupy.
I'm a landlord, so now I'm in trouble if this goes through.
602.3, who rents, leases, or lets one or more dwelling units, rooming units, dormitory, guest rooms. This isn't talking about a private home.
But it does say in here, I forget where it is, that it
Every owner
applies
and
to
operator.
owner-occupied,
It's
applies to all
two-family.
these
We're gonna change
provisions.
that.
Your two-family falls under that.
I thought we were going to change that.
Okay, here's one, now, this sounds a little crazy. 603.5, portable cooking equipment. Portable equipment such as hot plates, grills, hibachis, etc. is prohibited for primary cooking.
Okay.
Any portable equipment employing a flame is prohibited for use on porches, balconies, or multi-story structures.
There's no edits on that.
Okay. All portable cooking units shall be kept a minimum of 25 feet from the structure during use. Is it a crock pot, a portable cooking unit, or a...
Flame.
It doesn't say flame there.
Yes, it does.
I think it does.
Employing a flame.
Employing
No.
a flame is prohibited from use.
Employing a
Such-
flame.
And it says period.
Such as. So
But
it's
portable equipment is also
Employing a
included.
flame.
Hot
Such
plates,
as.
grills, hibachis,
Portable
etc.
equipment such as.
Read the next sentence. Any portable cooking equipment
Employing a
employing a flame.
Employing a
Yeah,
flame.
is prohibited from
Is
things, but it does
but
say
back here,
all
this goes
portable,
back.
whether it's electric or that,
See
Grills
that
and
what they're-
hibachis
what
are
the
prohibited
intent
for
of that
primary
is.
cooking, period.
but it's not
This
very
is
well
now
written.
something different.
It's-
So what were you in
Now,
January?
this
So I
last
can't-
sentence.
So we highlighted
Your gas
This is,
grill outside.
6035 should throw it right out, because how many people, I still grill in the winter
Okay.
in my driveway. I'm
And
just-
So you can do that.
The fire department
I
says
can't.
you can
No,
have
she
it
can't.
On
within...
Chestnut
You
Street.
can't, because
you
it's
can't.
not 25 feet away from the building.
Okay, I have, what if we change it?
Careful
Remember
the police don't
clause?
see you.
I know.
So I have an apartment building on Chestnut Street, and one of the times that I went to inspect it, the top floor dweller thought it was okay for them to barbecue on their porch. Their porch is probably, I don't even think it's 4 feet by 4 feet.
We should have two, then. We should have
I was stunned.
one in pink, and one in white. All idiots read this.
Pink? Well, that's, explains the pink.
Isn't the grill thing part of the fire code too? I mean, is
But the fire code says
But
20
it's
feet, I think.
contained and you, no.
Isn't 20 feet?
There's, not really. There's more pertains to space heaters.
So if you were renting your space, you wouldn't be on your deck with your grill.
But this does, and I'm absolutely
Or-
certain, it says portably,
Or
it
your-
starts out, portable cooking equipment. It includes hot plates, gas grills, hibachi, it includes everything. And then it says the ones with the,
Everything. This is et cetera, for example.
et cetera, but hot plates, it's portable equipment, portable cooking
It's
equipment.
prohibited for primary cooking. So in other words, if I have an apartment and I'm gonna rent it to somebody and I say, okay, here's your stove, and I give them a hot plate.
A primary, no, yeah, for primary cooking,
Yeah.
but secondary cooking,
Doesn't-
which would include,
Doesn't
I
say
know-
anything about secondary cooking.
it's prohibited for primary, but you can have it supplementary, right? So you can have,
Oh, you're reading
In
too
theory,
much into this,
hang on,
John.
no, hang on.
It's
Listen, just
On
let me finish this.
6035?
Yeah.
Okay, portable equipment such as hot plates, gas grills is prohibited for primary cooking, okay? All portable equipment, cooking equipment for a flame is prohibited on porches, balconies, non-conforming structures. All portable cooking units, it doesn't say flame or not flame, it says all of them shall be kept a minimum of 25 feet, 0 inches from the structure. That could include a crock pot or a broiler oven or anything. I would argue it.
Keep this
I
under
would too,
control.
if a health officer flagged a crock pot.
That's a good,
I think, the other thing was converting existing structures to...
Where are you?
1001, I'm on the last page, Joyce.
Hallelujah.
oh my, no, really?
Okay,
Okay.
100.
1001.2, converting existing structures to two-family or multifamily.
Oh, you have a friend?
Structures to be converted from single-family to two or multifamily structures after the adoption. Okay, my house is set up as a two-family. It has been a two-family. It's got two separate electrical services and all that. Presently, I'm using it as one family.
In order to keep your grandfathering, you're gonna have to fall under the inspection guidelines.
No, if it's existing, it's existing.
But it's
Oh, well,
not being
then if
used
it's
that way,
existing,
though.
whether it's occupied or not, you need to inspect.
Have you pulled out the separate electrical? Have you done anything that, so it no longer is a two-family? Have you discontinued
Well-
the use by,
It doesn't have a kitchen upstairs anymore. It was a 8-foot kitchen counter.
and was that-
cabinets.
is that it?
It's-
Got a sink, right?
And the door. There was a wall dividing
That's
it.
not enough.
So it's, it still has the 2 electric panels and 2 electric meters.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, then,
If you had taken those out, and if you had converted it to a single-family unit, and it sounds like you haven't, then yeah,
Yeah,
you'd
it's
have
still
to comply.
separate.
But since it's still separate, you haven't
The
done
upstairs
that.
have one fuse box and downstairs is
There you
the
go.
other.
well then,
Okay.
to save that grandfathering, then wouldn't you then fall under the current inspection guidelines, even though it's unoccupied?
It's occupied.
No.
but-
Well, if I'm gonna come,
Doesn't have a renter here.
if I'm gonna come back to a later date and say I'm grandfathered, but you've got no record of inspection, how do you hold on to that grandfathering?
Okay, he's gonna come in, he's gonna apply for a building permit because he's gonna have to install a kitchen
I have to get
counter and
the
whatnot.
kitchen counter and the wall
The
and
building
the door.
inspector will go over there and look at it and determine whether or not it is, or was, a two-family unit, and if it still exists. Because now you're talking density that pertains to our zoning. That's how.
Okay, 1001.3, which is the last one in this whole ordinance, except for the page on the back. I didn't look at this. Somebody else can. Okay, so we go, original,
Oh, that's a good one.
It's just the index.
Replacement
somebody can
windows?
check the window. Original windows and doors. Original windows and doors in existing structures regulated under this ordinance and code shall not be removed or discontinued or diminish the size to a dimension smaller than that of the original or the requirements of the fire code. So what that means is if you have the wooden windows in your house, and you want to make it warmer and put the thermal thing for your parents, your tenants, the windows that they put in are half an inch on each side smaller because they fit in there.
Yep.
So you cannot do that. And if you did do that, you're a non-conforming structure.
You couldn't do it today.
Yes, you can.
I'd buy 'em at
If you have a
Lowe's.
rental unit in
Yeah.
your house,
Yeah.
you cannot make the windows smaller than the Hampshire State Fire Code.
But a replacement window, Catherine,
I
yes.
have already replaced a window in my bathroom, and you know what? It was the exact same size that I replaced it with. It was a casement window, and the window that was in there has been in there probably since, how old am I? The 40s.
The windows,
You're
Not
that old.
40s.
You're
I
not
said
that
it was in there
old.
since the 40s.
Oh, okay.
if you were to get, let's say, these windows here replaced with vinyl replacement windows and thermal paint, they take that wood sash out. They'd strip the sashes down so it's a smooth surface, top like that. Then they take the new window unit and they slide that in. These windows here have a wooden runner on it that's the part of the casing with the pulleys that go down on the inside of the wall. The new ones have the spring units that are going to be inside
The unit itself.
inner unit itself, which reduces the size of your window by a half an inch on each side. So you cannot go and update your windows
Get heating efficient windows.
unless you have a carpenter come over and not just put replacement
The
windows.
state fire code has a minimum window size for ingress and egress. That's the issue we have with New Franklin Apartments, and I can
But
tell you...
how
there's a-
about in my downstairs of my,
If you're gonna
house?
have a tenant in there...
not in there, I'm gonna have them upstairs.
You can't have windows.
But I can't do that in
Okay.
my part.
Right. Well, we talked about
Yeah.
that, and I agree that
So-
that's probably
And my
the
back
part that
door.
we should take out of this, to a certain extent.
I
It
just
needs to
remembered,
be
I forgot one
reworded.
thing. All gates in your yard have to be self-closing from a distance of 6 inches. So if you have a dog kennel or something like that, even if your tenants don't have it, but you have it, when the door is open this much, 6 inches, the spring has to be strong enough to close that gate at all times and make it latch. Door in your stockade fencing, that has to be sprung so it closes and latches automatically from a distance of 6 inches.
Probably easier than the chain links. How do you spring load a chain link fence?
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people have, like a little gate around their gardens
Yep.
or something like that. Those would all have to be spring-loaded. So in the synopsis, I think that we should have the attorney review this. And it's just way too far-reaching, and we don't know the cost of implementation of it, the time of implementing. We have not
I'm not doing it
included,
next year,
we could go,
so you know.
I think that we should do this with somebody that's in the rental community,
Why?
because
Let me
they
ask you
will...
why. Because, and I'm saying this because being a health officer as long as I am, I can tell you buildings, apartment buildings, where they have told their tenants, do not call the health officer, you will be evicted, okay? So you want those people to come in and tell us how to write an ordinance to make sure that they have safe dwelling units for their tenants?
No, but there are reputable landlords in town.
Yes, there are.
That could serve on a
Very
committee.
reputable. That's right, that's why.
Not me.
I actually wrote that
I don't even
in
want to be a
for the board, that
landlord.
committee member would be someone owning a residential rental property.
And
That was one of the things I changed. I thought that was a good idea.
in
But
life,
to write the ordinance,
there are
talk
bullies.
about a conflict of interest.
It's not to write the ordinance, to sit there and to review it and explain where their thoughts are, have both sides of it.
We already have that right there.
And the other thing is,
Are
we
you
don't know...
suggesting that we, again, like last year, pull this from the warrant?
We never sat down once as a board and looked at this.
Yeah,
This has
that's,
I was never
This-
here. You show me 1 minute of the
Okay.
meeting where we all
I've
sat
set
down and
this
went through
out
this.
so many times.
It's never even been on the agenda.
Catherine is...
It wasn't even on the agenda tonight.
I know that it's not been on the agenda, but Catherine has sent this out to us many, many times
Please
for us to look
review.
at it.
Does it
I'll
have to
look
be on
into
the
that.
agenda to review?
Something that's a 32-page ordinance that has such
That's been out
far-reaching
there for
and
2
implications
2
to
years?
taxpayers that could be elderly and depending...
We all
And-
committed ourselves to last town meeting, to looking at this last year.
How many times did we sit down here and discuss the rubbish ordinance? That was, what, 1 page?
How many
This is
times?
32 page, we never sat here.
How many times did I get emails to change the ordinance without sitting in a selectmen's meeting? I'm gonna tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted to sit through a selectmen's meeting and go try to create this.
That's what we should be doing. We have the duty to do this in a more public forum.
Why didn't we do this 2 years ago?
I thought we were going to. I'll pull up the minutes where I specifically said, and we all discussed getting together.
It's really frustrating to
Mike
bring
Gagney's
this up
talked
and bring
about
this up and have no support from my board members. None
Never sat down
whatsoever. You don't have to sit here. You know how many documents I read at home? And then come back
Well,
and discuss?
I see a lot of things in it that I think could be cause some...
You want to spend thousands of dollars to have
Yes.
a lawyer write this up.
Yes, because the first lawyer that looked at it said he had problems with it.
Yeah,
Green.
yeah, because he wanted to write his own. Ching, ching,
What
ching.
problems did he have?
Got us all.
Ching, ching, ching.
Thing and we blew that.
What problems did he have? We
Look at
looked at
the
it.
email. It's
No,
up
I know.
there. Send it to all
I'm
of us.
starting to join
A
you
year
on
ago.
that. I'm a slow.
Hey, you know what?
At this point in time, I really do believe that it should go to the, are we all on the same page here?
Which page are you on?
We're talking one at a time here. My opinion is, I think that it should go to the legislative body, hear what they have to say. If they get up,
At least it's a beginning.
if they get up and say, I think that you need to do some more work on it, and I amend it to say, next year, bring it up, you do some work on it, create a committee, whatever, and that we're forced to do that, then we'll do it. That's what has to happen. But I think we owe it to the legislative body to at least, and I think that we also owe it to them to tell them why we need some kind of structure in ordinance purpose, because we don't want to go through what we did a year and a half ago with the inhabitable messes. And that's the real intent of all of this. It's not for the the small landlord that's doing what they're supposed to be doing and all of that.
Unfortunately,
And
this is so
unfortunately, it does,
far-reaching that
right.
it could cause severe financial problems, the way that if...
You want something far-reaching? Read what I enforce now. It's so subjective, it's ridiculous.
I agree with everybody.
Then I do agree with you, John, but I think we, at this point in time, let the legislative body figure it out Saturday and say, yay, nay, or bring it up. Good night.
I think these are probably, because I got an earful, 2 different people.
Oh, I've gotten 6 landlords so far.
That's because I don't answer the phone.
But you know what? One
get the
person
thing.
called me today, in the very first line, it's 100.2, and to address conditions that affect the health, morals, safety, and general welfare of the residents and citizens of the community. How can you address morals?
Well, we did on Chestnut Street.
I know we did,
Why, we have hose over there, did we?
but you
Oh, yeah.
No, we
come
didn't.
to my house and decide to address my morals, and we'll talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there is no house of ill repute at Pat's house. I'm
But
guessing.
even this is probably,
I've never been over there.
Really nice. All right. Next.
I just looked through my other things and they can wait.
Good job, Joy.
That was, I don't dare to bring any more shit up tonight.
I looked.
This is not in the mood you're in.
In the sink.
But I do still want to talk about,
That was fun.
just a reminder, I know that some of you can't attend, but on Thursday, March 10th at 2 o'clock, we're meeting with the commissioner from the Department of Transportation. And
Oh, the sidewalk situation.
crosswalks.
Yeah, crosswalks.
in part,
And on the island trees, I spoke with Glenn Smith. He said their selectmen talked about it. If they did go forward with this, they would be in favor of the low bid. They wanted to have Johnny and their Public Works Director sit down and talk with the vendor, the low bidder, and maybe fine tune and clarify exactly, show which branches and things will come down.
Yeah, the dead
Before anything
ones.
is signed. No, before anything is signed.
I want to see which ones they could take down themselves and make it cheaper.
Well, I told them, I said that our highway department, they're truck drivers, they're not people that
We're not
that
doing that.
maintain trees.
The other thing is that part of it is a service for them just to get there. It's X amount, whether they cut one branch or 20. Plus, they know how to cut it correctly.
But we will more than happy to have Johnny talk with the highway guy over there about it, not about cutting down the bid, or what they can do to help
Okay,
cut it down.
all right.
The bid is the bid.
I can take care of the brush that grows up around them.
They can help take care of the other stuff.
Okay. So at some point, the whole board will look at, have you all looked at the bids?
Briefly.
Yeah, you sent them to us.
And I explained they wanted to know why each one was different. I said because it was a request for proposal. It wasn't a scoped-out request for bid.
Right, we asked them to
We
tell
wanted
us.
their expertise and their recommendation, and then we would look at it and say, this is a lot of good information now that we have, what can we do? And that we sent it out to 27 tree people, because they wanted to know why no one local had submitted, and I said, well, we sent it to all the local people.
We chose not to bid.
Right. So, we'll have Johnny talk with their, and then the only other thing is, I just wanted to talk about this, and this, since this is a acquisition and not public.
Yep, okay. So in regular, I just have one question. I did actually have a couple of questions tonight. Manville Road, the couple remaining trees that are up there, were we purposely leaving those couple of trees,
Those maples,
the maples that are left? that-
we just didn't include them, I think, in the RFP.
Said the pine trees.
Yeah, there were some hardwood deciduous trees there, they'll lose their leaves in
People
winter.
used to do that.
And when, they were in good shape, right? That's why we
Well,
didn't.
they're kind of like,
They're leaning a bit, but
they're leaning
They'll
like
straighten
this.
up when the time comes
They will?
they should, I think.
See it look nice? Must look
Peter.
nice.
Catherine Wisner said that it looked very nice.
Oh, really?
Yes, it
I've
does
been
look nice.
told it looks very nice. Peter drives by there every day, but they say that you can't even tell that there were trees there.
No, you can't.
Really?
Except there's still
I
stumps there.
can tell.
Yeah, they ground all but 4.
Wood chips everywhere.
Yeah, don't drive by when they're chipping there, they're flinging everywhere, dinging off your vehicle.
They're, but
you
the
gotta
rest
pay
is all raked up towards 3M. It's way, way down where the original.
Are they gonna leave the chips as like
No,
a mulch,
they-
or they?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny is probably gonna haul some off because the shoulder's higher than the road, hence the bird bath.
Then they let
Sure,
neighbors
there
take it if
always
they
was
wanted
They're
it.
gonna do some
was always, I
ditching
know.
and stuff like that this
It's always higher
spring.
than the road.
Yes, which is not how you're supposed to build roads.
No, it's not.
Okay, the senior center spaghetti dinner with Master Chef Jessamine is March 26th. Just remember that.
Which is the Wednesday before the destruction.
I guess that goes
Yep.
in this. If they're doing this, I guess, Joe.
Yeah,
If this is the welfare,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, that's it. Pretty sure that not missing out on anything somebody told me to bring up. Okay. John, you have any, oh, never mind, you already brought up enough. Peter?
I went over to Belmont. I went to the hearing at Belmont. Well, yeah, for the compliance hearing, and I gave them copies of their exceedances. They seemed a little surprised, the guy from, what's his name?
Engineer,
The engineer,
Saint Germain.
St. Germain. Yeah, he kind of, well, it's too late for that. We've already gotten past that cycle. You should have brought it up before. However, we asked for that information at the first hearing in July. What are these metals? But they approved it anyway before they even told us what they were. So I think they're a little excessive. One of the things was, I don't think now, but there's been some letters in the paper from the planning board in Belmont, as well as there was a letter, it was quoted again in a letter from, or an editorial from the Citizen today, stating that basically you can move industrial businesses half a mile down the road, and there's less, what did they say, there's less laws or
Restrictions?
restrictions, yeah. So basically, they're saying they're doing a better job at protecting the aquifer than we are. So I don't
Are
know.
they talking about us or Northfield? You got an asphalt plant.
Well, they,
Northfield with a bunch of lots for sale that's all industrial.
yeah, they're probably referring to both. I mean, we've been picked on because we have exit 20 from here.
That's not industrial, that's commercial.
Still sits
It's our
right
Our
fault.
industrial is.
Well, if you want to look at the
directly
aquifer,
abuts
go
the river.
downstairs, and it covers a whole lot more than the no-salt roads we have.
No, I understand that.
Well, that's about it with that.
I did have one other thing that I meant to acknowledge. Belknap County Commissioners came up with the budget. Early on their first swing at the budget, they cut Community Action Meals on Wheels significantly. We all called our representatives, and they said, don't worry, it's only the first swing, we'll take another swing at it. I spoke with several representatives this time around, asking them not to cut the Meals on Wheels, because it's not just about the meal, it's about the networking that goes on, and in a couple of cases, in the last couple of years, it saves lives. Well, they voted Tuesday night, and they did, in fact, they kept the cut of community action. So our representatives for the town of Tilton did diddly squat. Absolutely nothing
How
after
did they
telling us.
vote?
They voted,
To cut?
no, Dennis voted to stay the same, but the other
No,
one
then you
voted to
can't
do
throw
it.
Dennis under the bus.
But
I'm
they
sure he didn't fight it.
Nope, he didn't. So, they got, Genesis got cut by 30,000, or a few thousand, and Meals on Wheels was 34,000.
They asked for 75 and they got 60.
They asked for 86.
Oh, I see.
So, shame on them. I mean, it's okay to put money into the jail and do all of that about our prisoners, but we cannot take care of our seniors. Shame on them.
Just remember that when
And-
voting day comes.
And they did not, it's, what was it, 800 and some odd $1,000 less budget this year than it was last year. Do you think they could have spent another $24,000 to feed the seniors? Shame on them. Anyway, Catherine?
A couple of small things. I emailed you earlier, an email I got from a company woman wanting to know if we wanted to have a tick eradication, municipal tick control plan. So It's not, definitely not something we have to look at tonight. And there's a blog there you can see that you can go to, so,
Is it a cost to us?
oh, I'm sure there's a cost.
Do we have any idea what that might be?
Vector Disease Control International. Now, I've asked different companies before, and it depends on what you want to cover. The ball field, private wetlands, town wetlands. I mean, it's,
Maple
when you're
Court?
dealing with
Yeah, but
mosquitoes, and then
I thought
here's the
it
thing.
was for ticks.
Well, it is for ticks, but
Ticks, you wouldn't get it at the
In the
ball
woods.
field because it's too short.
Buffalo
you would
Park,
get it around the edge of the ball field where it's not short.
right.
Salmon Run?
Where did I
Salmon
not
Run.
mow?
Along the roadside where the brush is, you can have
Along
ticks.
the roadside, which is DOT right-of-way.
Right,
That's not
you can
town.
have ticks in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so we're gonna eradicate them on
I don't-
state property?
I'm not up
Let's
to
see what they're
eradicating
up to.
ticks, but you're asking me the cost, and I can only relate it to mosquitoes. So even with ticks, you have an eradication program in town. Well, if none of your surrounding communities have it, it's not like we have a sign at the border saying ticks don't come here. That's
can
the same
print
with
some up.
mosquitoes. You have an eradication program, it doesn't work if the surrounding communities don't do
can't
it as
read.
well. But,
I can't read.
here's an avenue with which to investigate, so I can only tell you what I looked at before.
I
And
think it's worth investigating.
We should investigate.
Particularly, I mean, we have Salmon Run, it's gonna be, if you're gonna do it, the wildflowers up above like that, along the trail, boom. Yeah.
So,
Buffalo Park,
it's worth looking
where the
into.
deer are.
It's worth it. The other thing is, and actually, this has actually come up for quite a few
Or
years,
they're over by 3M.
the land use office. There's no windows, there's no ventilation, no airflow,
Thank
except for
God
the
they don't
door.
fall under that housing
We had
ordinance.
our meeting with DOT down there, they had to shut the door because they couldn't hear on their phone calls and whatnot while we were meeting. It closes off the airflow. So, well, I'm just telling you the suggestions. One suggestion was to put a door at the end of the hall by land use, and another door up at the far end by the town clerk tax collectors. So you would isolate those two areas, just the messenger. Another suggestion is to put a window in the existing door of the land use office, and another window in the wall that adjoins the hallway by where the bathroom is.
They can have a
in
sliding
Tim's
window.
office.
Next.
Or to put a door there, another door there with a window, so you'd have two doors with windows.
So it's, yeah, because it's pretty claustrophobic, right? It's just like,
When you go in there and the door's shut, it's amazing how,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
hard.
not claustrophobic, but it's amazing, you kind of feel like, wow. Secluded, So they just asked me to bring it, that's all I got. So we should not drop the ball on the land use office, and if somebody else has other ideas of how we can improve that office space,
it'd be nice to have a window,
let's put it on old
Paint some
business.
sceneries on the walls.
We don't drop that.
like when you first come in that side door, if there was a window there, so they could at least get some natural light.
Something, yeah. So, yeah.
So when do we want to take a look at it? I really do believe that we've
Equipment is right there.
On that wall?
looked at this before, and we've talked about it before. I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be done
Yeah, we never went,
unless we, move them out of that room completely, and then really there's no place to put them except up here. You know? So windows are,
something.
Well, plus they have no means of egress if they were trapped in there.
can we get
Wider than
estimates?
7 feet?
You want to get estimates on the doors and the window, door with the window or windows?
Well, I know that we replaced Heather's door not too long ago when I first came because she had no window. She
couldn't see people coming or going from her, to her office. I mean, she has a window in her office, but she wanted to be able to,
Wasn't that expensive?
to see outside the office. I don't know.
It's,
No, our exterior door up at the senior center was $400.
That's an exterior door, this would
Yeah, I
be an
know, so it's gonna
interior
be,
door.
interior's gonna be half that price.
Yeah.
with the window, it's probably gonna be close to that. Good commercial door, $300-400.
Yeah, I say
But a
let's,
window in the door isn't going to improve ventilation if the
No.
door's shut.
but if you have a window and door in the hallway the hallway where the bathroom is with Tim's offices,
You get good odors there.
you are really gonna lose
Space.
window space, wall space.
File
You gotta
cabinet
just-
Telling you
space.
what was suggested.
You really need to just be
Not my
prepared that
ideas.
you're gonna lose that wall space.
I guess we gotta put up another set of cubicles over here.
Don't kill the messenger.
So let's go get some estimates
Should there
to
be some type
find
of
it.
exhaust fan or something, or, that allows air to circulate through from,
I've seen interior office spaces like that, where they have high windows up above. The county police station did that.
I don't know if I've seen those
We got
windows.
some at the high school,
School.
Catherine,
If they open
on
up,
on the second
Be
floor
like
facing
over
the Ag
the
Center.
desk.
Yeah, so
Have some
so it would
windows
be
that
at the,
open.
at the top, and, oh, you know what? Business Park Drive, didn't they have those in one of the offices? The windows are up high, so you have airflow, you have light, but it's really a ventilation. It's not an ingress and egress, obviously, it's more of a
you'd
ventilation.
still need the door.
or on the other side, which would be handy for security, if somebody comes in, they can see what's going on, town clerk, tax collector, if somebody's working in there at
Where
night or
the
something.
poster is?
Proposed poster.
No, the corkboard where all the information is next to his door?
No, between
You couldn't,
land
he'd
use
lose,
and town clerk tax collector's office.
Which
right
would,
in between their office together.
Yeah, where they share
which
that
would allow
wall.
for,
there.
good for security, if somebody saw something going on,
They
they
could
could,
stand on the
Their
desk.
file
and
cabinets are
see
there,
what the
and his
deputy's doing.
computer is there. All the file cabinets are there. And computers would have to be pretty
with
high.
the safe, we should get rid of that safe, like we intended.
Yeah,
We had somebody that was going to take the safe. Unfortunately, parameters were set.
yeah, we had to make them go out the window or something.
Oh, that's not going out
If
anymore.
we
It's
could
taken out of our
move
hands.
the,
That would
that
serve. a
file
lot.
drawer that you gave us, that would open up space for a door into the hallway.
They use that, don't they?
But if we could just find another space to put that.
Problem is, if you had a door opening up into that hallway, the chances of you opening up into somebody's path is pretty
Yeah,
good.
you have to open it out.
I mean, you'd have to kind of, anybody coming before you,
Well, it's like that with Cindy's door, that's why she leaves the top half
the top
open.
down, right.
Fire alarms on the
Do another Dutch door.
Close the stage in and give them an office up here.
Then you gotta make it handicap accessible, and
They get a lot of people in and out of there,
There you do.
They need to have the tax cards.
and they need all their stuff.
Well, that would clear out 2 rooms down there.
For another day.
Next.
All right, but you can get
Brainstorming.
estimates.
Yeah.
Go forth and,
would you want to consider having a window between town clerk, tax collector, and in there? I think security would be a
I'm not approaching that subject with Cindy.
big thing, because,
It
if
She worries about people
Security.
being able to look in at confidential information.
Yeah.
That's the feedback that I've gotten in the past, any, having somebody over their shoulder that could maybe see something on a desk, that would be a concern for her, I think. Hey, I'm just telling you.
confidential information,
I like the idea of the windows up above.
That would give the
I think the
ventilation.
ventilation, I think, is needed, because even a window in the door.
And a
there's no
half door.
And
ventilation.
a window with the with a door with a window in it.
You know, they could have what is
And a
it,
split door.
transom? You have
And a
pull
split
and you
door?
Open it and shut it?
The split door, and they can open.
Dutch door?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if someone was
The top half window.
with, top half with a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what's the difference from that, from just leaving the door open to begin with?
Right. The idea is when there's something
Either
going
add
on in the
another
meeting
door
room,
or
which is
an- or
often,
windows.
they're disturbed and they shut the door. So now with the door shut,
But if they had the windows up high or down the hall, they wouldn't be subjected to noises? No, you're
Yeah, they
saying?
still would, because
They still
Tim
would,
can hear everything that's
Oh, you
going on
hear
in the,
Everything.
everything. If you're
Tim
sitting
can
at
hear
the
us
table.
talking up
Yeah, he
here.
can hear in my room.
If we
He
look
can hear
at
me
it,
talking.
this won't solve anything.
Well, here's the thing.
Because they'll still have to close the
If you put a
window.
window in the door, when they shut the door, they won't be so claustrophobic. They won't feel like they've been
Appearance,
stuck
yeah.
in a closet. If you put the windows up high on the wall, you're going to give them ventilation. So they could shut them if it's
They're still going to be able to
this
hear, though.
noisy, so they could shut them, but at least it's going to get them more ventilation in.
So that it's, because we got two things, it's ventilation
And noise,
and noise. So when they normally have the door open,
and
they
egress.
just want more ventilation during that time, right? And then the rest of the time, when they close the door, they're gonna have to close the window, so it's not gonna help the ventilation then.
Okay,
A conundrum.
So, talk with them more.
but we're open to
Yeah,
suggestions.
and then maybe somebody coming and looking at it will have even better suggestions. Oops, I'm throwing stuff at you.
We're having that guy from Homelock come and look at shelving for us up at the senior center.
Where in
Remember
your,
he was here over here, that new kid,
oh, in your closet?
in the hallway?
In the hallway? Oh, in the front hallway?
Okay, so, Joseph, are you
Pass.
done? You done?
Oh, yes, I am, thank you.
Peter, you already said, okay. I guess that's it. Okay, make a motion, we go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3. One is legal, and the other is that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes?
Yes.
We're red is on. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to the sale and/or acquisition of property and as they pertain to the affecting person's reputation permanently.
Second.
Yes.
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 Even as I'm
No.
saying it, I'm thinking to myself,
No. The sale and acquisition of property until the matters are
should have been
resolved.
the matter is resolved.
So, but anyway,
Gail
it's
fixed
voted.
it.
It's
Gail knows
it's all
what to
right.
do.
Okay.
I'll revise my
Make
second.
my
Motion pretty.
motion
No, we
pretty.
try every now and then.
No, you can't make your motion pretty. A motion is a motion. Right.
Well, then let me make another motion.
Just vote
It's,
it down.
you just voted it. It's
No. I
fine.
just voted it, no. I changed my mind, no. I'm gonna change my vote to no.
Wow.
Yep,
She already voted.
She's
it's
voting
fine.
twice.
Did I hear a motion to adjourn?
Not yet, but it's coming up real quick.
Say it.
Motion to
I've
adjourn.
been going like this.
We never unseal minutes.
We should, though.
We do this,
Let's pick the month
but
of
we
August.
never,
Okay,
In
you go through
August.
them all.
we
and-
All those
never,
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
ever.
39.
Do you remember all the stuff you brought up on that?
I think anything on personnel
That says
should
that this
remain
passes.
sealed permanently.
Permanently.
And then everything else, and we'll just go back.
We should